It still works. Amazing. Yeah, yeah.
Ooh, that had a lot of great moments in there.
Yeah, I've been meaning to update it and everything, but I hadn't done anything wrestling until now. Like I say, it's been like a year.
I know. I
So
think the last time we did
yes,
WrestleMania matches, or was it WrestleManias?
it was best wrestle. Oh my God, which one was that?
It was last year, and I remember like looking. It's like when we talked about WrestleMania.
It was I know it ended up being like the least watched video that I ever had, and I was always disappointed in that. I was always like, damn.
I'm the guy whose most watched videos about sharks, which I don't want to have a channel dedicated to horror movies about sharks. Oh God, that would suck so much.
Hey Ninja, what's going on? Hey Rob.
Hey, Rob, hey Ninja.
Oh man, yeah. Welcome everybody. It's the first time, just like Echo was saying. I think it's only the second time you've already you've even been here. And it's been far too long, man. I've been looking forward to talking
Yeah,
some wrestling for a while,
yeah. And there's a lot going on.
for sure. For sure, I've got a bunch of different stuff listed here, like I said, to talk about, and we're also going to watch some matches here, and it's going to be some stuff that we're able to get into. Um,
Like I noticed you had Alexia Bliss, and she, I believe, I know they said the storyline stuff, but she had cancer.
really?
She had skin cancer. That's why she was off. And
Oh
then she
yeah.
posted a picture, and she had like a bandage,
Okay.
and it was like, "Dear younger me, don't spend too much time in a tanning booth."
Damn.
She
Yeah,
was like,
yeah. I
it was
remember
like
that.
pink and bleeding, and she went and got looked at, and it's like, oof.
Hey Phil, hey June. Yeah, man, and that sucks because I think as far as cinematic talent goes, I think she's probably the best that they have there.
Oh yeah, but
Um,
I'm sure like part of why they had her off because you got to make sure everything. She's got the clean beer, not just storyline wise, but you got to make sure everything's clear.
right, right. Liv Morgan turned out to be a little bit better than what they thought too. I mean, when they started having her, when she started enjoying getting beat up on, that's some of the best shit that she'd ever done. And then they stopped, when she was champion.
Oh, you hear what happened to her in Dakota Kai?
Yeah, I heard she got hurt, but I
She
missed.
she 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 got her shoulder hurt, and it was a match that had Dakota Kai. Dakota Kai tried to defend her, and in the process, one of her ACLs got tore or something.
Oh my god.
Same match at a house show, so both are going to be out for a while because they don't. I think they're saying right now with Liv, no surgery, but it's the ACL for Dakota.
Yeah,
So yeah, she's going to have surgery.
causing them lose the tag championships. I know.
But it's like, damn, what happened? When she was defending her, something must have happened in the process of defending her. Was she doing it wrong, or did someone bump into her or something? And,
Yeah.
but then again, I believe it was her, or no, it wasn't her. There was another. It was another one. Her former tag team partner, whose name I can't remember, used to always get leg injuries down at NXT, and oddly enough, hasn't been on TV.
I don't remember
She
who
was one of the
she's.
ones that got brought back when Triple H took over.
Right. I don't remember. Yeah, that's the thing that I was kind of want to get into also. About see exactly what you thought about. Well, you think Triple H is still running things, or do you think that Vince is? Everybody, of course, knows Vince is probably sticking his face in there because you can see little hints here and there. And of course, if he's
Mm-hmm.
back around, I don't think he ever left running things here and there. That's my
Well,
feeling.
he's got this god complex, I guess is the best way to put it. And he's got his fingers in things. So you knew even though he was away, he still, he had it there. And yeah, you can see it. It's just how much. And supposedly his contract now is because part of the deal was he safeguarded himself. Until he's incapable of doing it, or until he's dead.
Right.
So he's good.
They said that was Endeavor's idea, but I don't believe that. I think that was a
It's
stipulation.
it's 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 his. Everything I've heard, he never thinks he's wrong. Always thinks he knows what he's talking about.
Right.
He got caught red-handed with his hand in the cookie jar.
A lot.
Yeah, and he was able to. There was lawsuits saying that he was rewriting the rules and stuff to come back, and now he's basically he's got a death hold of that company. So
Yeah.
if there's enough trouble, I'm sure Endeavor would find a way, even if it costs him a large amount of money. They'll get rid of him.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
well, yeah. I mean, I was shocked at how he looked at WrestleMania before this last one, man, because they made it sound like he was still like this physical monster, and then I was surprised at how old he really did look when he was in that match.
oh, he had a facelift, something done to his face, and he came out, and I'm like, it's the Joker without the makeup. Everything's all like pulled back and shit. It's like, God, he must go to his grandkids. Hi, kids, you want some money? Why are they laughing? Why are they crying?
Now he tries to wear that little mustache to try to cover that up.
Look, he dyed his hair because he was gray as could be.
Yeah,
He's
there's nothing
dyed
bad.
his hair. He's dyed everything, and now it's just like
Even his eyebrows.
now they said like he looks like Morgan. What's his name? Gomez Adam. I think he looks like something else. I think he looks like one of those guys who likes to touch little kids.
Yeah,
Just saying, that's what he looks like now.
Yeah. Shit. I guess it started out with something that A Steel was hired. So that right there tells you as far as AEW
But
goes.
he
That
can't be.
obviously,
But he can't be backstage.
Right. But just the fact that he's been hired back in there, that was something that he insisted on.
Because Khan wants Punk to come back.
Oh, of course, man. No matter what, this is what he thrives on. This is what Punk thrives on. The more controversial he is, the better shit he's going to give you. I thought, when he came back and was in AEW, yeah, he had an impact, but not the impact. He doesn't give you a real impact unless he's pissed, unless he's irritated about something. That's when he really thrived.
Well, and he ran his mouth, but that's what he did. And Tony Khan stood there looking like a deer looking at the headlights, tried to say something, and he's like, well, no, it's not your place. He pretty much told his boss to shut the fuck up. And Khan stood there like a deer in the headlights.
Yeah.
And then you had that fight. You knew when he ran his mouth there was going to be repercussions.
Yeah.
You
knew that when they hired him, just like I've said a million times, when you get Punk, you know what you're going to get. So don't sit around and act like you're surprised when he opens his mouth and when he says what he's going to say. That's who he is. That's who he's always going to be.
And there's repercussions. When one person speaks the mouth, there's going to be repercussions. That's what we saw here. And there was after this happened, there was an old clip of when he was in WWE was Triple H saying, it was a segment. He goes, "You talk about a change, but all you care is about improving yourself." Yeah. And people are like, "Look at this. How much of that was a shoot?"
Right.
But I don't want to see him back. I think he's bad. Chris Jericho called him cancer.
Yeah.
Now I understand they've had a meeting with Tony, Chris Jericho, and CM Punk. I don't know about the others. If he shows up backstage, there's going to be
also what's their names too were there too. His friends in there. God damn it. What's their names? Dax.
FTR.
Yeah, FTR was in there too, and they're big supporters of his too.
And when asked about, they were like, "Oh, we already left."
Yeah. So
that's like saying, dude, we'll clean our hands of that.
What do you think about him showing up, or why do you think he was at Raw? Do you think it's just because they just happened to be there, and do you think he was trying to talk to somebody in particular to try to stir up some shit?
I don't know if he talked to Triple H, but he talked to The Miz supposedly, and they buried the hatchet. I don't know what happened there in the past.
They also threw him out because of contract tampering.
But Vince doesn't like him too.
Right.
when people think that when he did that show on Fox, they were like, "Oh, WWE brought him back." No, He wasn't an employee of the WWE. He was an employee of Fox.
Yeah.
Fox liked him. Don't know how they feel about him now. But he also showed up backstage at, I think, Impact.
Yeah, I heard something about that too. Yeah.
But Tony Khan, he was raising an eyebrow like, not about Impact, but like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Why is my guy? Because he's still under contract. So it's like, what the? So he could have been messing with Tony.
Yeah,
For all we know.
The way, well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I thought was he was going to try to show him that, hey, I can go somewhere else. They will take me back if I want them to. It didn't exactly work in his favor because he got threw out because he wasn't thinking about the fact that, hey, that's contract tampering and that's illegal. And so Vince wasn't going to talk to him. What I understood was Triple H talked to him and he asked if he had a few minutes, and Triple H said, "Hang on, I've got to clear it by the old man first." And then that's when they come back and said, "Hey, Vince says you got to go." So that's the way I understood it happened.
That whole situation when everything went down, I can understand he was upset about things and walking. Okay, that's Stone Cold did that. Remember, back in 2002, was that?
Yeah, when he walked out, yeah.
And then of course the most messed up thing, the day of his wedding, that's when they served his papers that had been released. And Vince, well, I didn't know it was his wedding.
That's bullshit. He knew. He knew.
That was a big, fuck you to him. I mean, there's other days he could have done it, but not an important day like that.
I think the coolest thing that Punk did while he was in there was something I think they could have made so much better. I mean, you had all the elements. Was him and MJF. I thought that could have been fucking brilliant, man. Somehow it just lacked, and I don't know why. But I mean, it was all right, but not nearly as good as it could have been. I can't lack that controversy made.
It's like I told you before the stream. One of the hottest up and coming talents, maybe the hottest up and coming, is MJF. He is absolutely incredible. Yeah, that's why there were rumors at one point the WWE was eyeing him like when his contract ends.
Yeah, well, yeah, they
Tony's gonna be like fighting, tooth and nail to keep him under contract.
Oh, it's absolutely crucial that he keeps him. Absolutely.
But yeah, his work is just has a hill.
Yeah. Cornette was talking about him and how they're wasting him as champion, how it's a very unexciting run because of booking. He was talking about this 4-pillar match. And there was Jungle Boy and Darby Allin and I can't remember somebody else, but
Sammy Guevara.
Yeah, Guevara, and he's talking about how Guevara doesn't belong in it. He's not at that level yet. He talked about how Jungle Boy he's gone about as far as he's going to go, and he's talking about how Darby Allin though he said it'd be so easy to make this like Flair versus Dusty Rhodes was because Darby Allin is people's behind him. He's like the working man's thing because he did this thing when he got prepared. He slept in the car so it would remind him of when he was starving. He said so that would have been perfect to have like the old Dusty Rhodes Ric Flair thing, where you got this obnoxious scarf wearing rich kid as champion, and you got this working class man coming up wanting to be champion, and he saw how much better it would have been if they would have built that up and just made it him versus him. Spend a couple of months building that up and then have that as the main event.
Plus, look at him. Okay, Darby has, I guess, a little bit of heat of him when something happened years ago. Sammy Guevara has a ton of heat of him because of shit he's done. And right now, Jungle Boy, Jack Perry, he's got heat on him because apparently there was overseas a meet and greet or convention. He was disrespectful.
Right.
And they asked him about who he'd go for advice. And he said, I'd go for like Luchasaurus and anybody who works my style, but I won't go to Billy Gunn.
Right.
Because I guess something about Billy is like, people see him hitting too many Canadians destroy. I think he's going like the repetitive same move. He's like do a little bit more. So I guess it was viewed as he's disrespectful. He's a prick. Like he didn't want to be over there. Someone said something about he might have anxiety issues, or maybe he's just not a friendly person. I don't know.
Ninja says, "Man, I haven't watched wrestling since the early 2000s. What do I? Oh, man, you missed a lot of stuff, Ninja."
Oh, yeah, the beginning of the PG era, death of ECW, WCW.
G-Buck says, just make Drew McIntyre the new face of the company. I thought that for a minute. I like Drew McIntyre, man.
He's off injury.
Yeah.
But he might not resign. But they're talking to someone said that the WWE, I guess AEW can do this too. They can add time on to your contract as a clause if you're out with an injury.
Yeah.
So they can extend his contract so he has to make up that injury time.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I heard about that. Yeah. It works the same way with. I guess that's why Kenny Omega's contract hadn't come up too, is because he was injured a good amount of time and he had to make up that amount of time.
Yeah.
I don't like Kenny Omega. I don't know what it is, but there's something about him that I just cannot stand. I think he is so overrated. That might not be a popular.
He supposedly had these incredible matches in Japan, in New Japan, and there are a lot of incredible matches over there.
Over in Japan,
but in America, I mean, there's a lot of different style between the two countries.
Yeah.
You want proof? Not Google, but YouTube Hulk Hogan in Japan, and there is a match from the late '80s, early '90s. He wrestles.
Oh hell yeah, he does.
He's doing arm locks, leg locks, arm wrenches, the whole 10 yards.
If you don't know how, they'll eat you up, man. If you don't know how to actually work a match, they'll eat you up.
Yeah, and the first time I saw the match, I'm literally like,
drop toe holds and shit. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and it was like, damn.
Yeah.
Because we're so used to it. But I think Omega was also part of one of the biggest embarrassments in AEW. Yeah. That match with Jon Moxley. Oh my god! Oh, we have all these fireworks, and it's if you've seen the time bomb matches, land bomb matches in Japan, it's all pyro and smoke and sound effects, and then here comes in AEW, sparklers and doop, doop, boop, boop, boop.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
I'm like, I've seen kids with sparklers and little firecrackers that put on a better display than that.
Yeah.
And poor Eddie Kingston, poor Eddie, bless his heart. He had to sell it like it was like something big, and afterwards later like,
right, yeah. Like, it really sucks to be that guy, man. It really does. It sucks to be that guy laying in the middle of the ring, and you happen to be the one selling whatever stupid shit just happened around you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And when they did that interview with him and John, he had to come up with the reason. Oh, I have post-traumatic syndrome, and it triggered me. Okay, maybe I could see that, but it still is like, what? And I've seen these matches over in Japan before, so watching this, it's just like, what?
Nice quick thinking anyway on his part.
Yeah, because he's one of those guys. Okay, we talk about, you got to talk about Billy Graham. Awesome on the mic.
Right.
One of the guys that you can see is really good on the mic is Eddie.
Oh,
there was I think it was Being the Leader or whatever. They would do his bits, and they would hand him a random object, like those Halloween pumpkin things you can go trick or treating with, or candy, and they go cut a promo. Boom! He would cut a promo like there was nothing.
Yeah. So
as you can see, he's like one of those guys who took what Billy, because Billy could cut some. Oh my god! And was it too sweet to be? Was it I lift barbell plates. I eat T-bone steak, sweeter than German chocolate. And one of the guys who's good is Eddie. He could cut a promo like probably the best in AEW.
Yeah, I don't like his look. To me, his look, he doesn't have anything that really stands out that makes you feel like he's a superstar wrestler. But
just
likewise,
he just looks like one of those, indie wrestlers. But he is, oh my god, he's good on the mic.
Yeah. Speaking of talk good on the mic, Hogan. We were speaking of that before we went on about. In case everybody doesn't know, he was discussing this one more match and mentioned he wanted to have it with Stone Cold, and we were talking about how no, that's not going to happen. But he may get one if his back can handle it, and whatever it is, he's definitely not going to be bumping. it's going to be kind of like one of the last things we've seen him do against
Sting and Impact. He did some
yeah.
stuff.
There's also that one thing at WrestleMania against Mustafa or whatever. Remember the new Sheik guys making that
that controversial guy.
when he saved Eugene and shit. Yeah.
And he can't hit the leg drop.
Hey Russell.
That means going up and coming down. His hips and his back is not going to take it.
Hell no. That's, if he even does a leg drop, I mean, that's what fucked up to begin with. Years of that leg drop.
Oh, yeah.
See you in a minute, Cal. What's going on, man?
Hey,
see,
Cal.
I see how you are. See, yeah, Jinder Mahal. Yeah, you come on here when Echo's on here. You fucker, where you been? Hey, Philip, what's going on?
And he got involved in, but Hogan, he starts off talking about supposedly Shane called him and wanted to do something. He's like, I can't. Oh, he was like talking about Austin. It's up to Austin, first off, whether or not he wants to. Austin can say that thing with Kevin Owens, you can say that was it.
That was a perfect ending for him. That was at home there in Texas. It went really well. It was against somebody he trusts. The whole thing that he didn't want to do with Hogan to begin with was he just knew it wouldn't be a good match. I mean, what the hell? I mean, it definitely wouldn't be one now. That's why he didn't want to do that with Hogan. That's why Hogan ended up with The Rock. He just didn't see that as being a good match.
And just look at Hogan had 1 or 2, maybe 3 matches in Impact, and they were terrible.
Yeah.
Sting, at least he was in the ring with Sting, and Sting had to work around him.
Yeah, because he got there where he was starting to get those back surgeries then, a lot of them, and he couldn't bump then because of that.
He also had one of the creepiest comments ever about those back surgeries because they had to put something in him that like a stimulate the muscles and stuff, like a little shock. And he goes, "Oh, when I do it, it gives me a hard on." Oh fuck! I don't need to know that. Okay.
It's nice to know, isn't it? Yeah.
Information you don't need to know about Hogan.
No, for real, Kal-El, thanks for coming by, man. I just playing calling you, but damn it, you should come around more often.
Yeah, because I can agree with that, Cal. Because here it is, he had the biggest star of the '80s and the early '90s in Hogan for the WWE.
That was a great match, man. Yeah. Just because of the way the two of them know how to put on a show, that was by far the best match of WrestleMania 18. And remember, Triple H and Jericho had to follow that up, and they both talked about how that sucked because
there was
the crowd was sucked dry after that, man. They just didn't have anything left.
Yeah, you could have an incredible match, and then afterwards, if the fans are going to be like drained, because you can have another incredible match, but if the fans are drained afterwards.
Yeah. It's just you got two masters of being able to, and see that's one thing people say a lot about Hogan, but that's one thing he knows how to do is get those fans in the palm of his hand, especially.
And it was this clash of ages, the biggest star in the '80s and early '90s versus the biggest star in the late '90s, early 2000s, going boom. So it was like especially a dream match.
Toronto. Yeah. And something about the Canadian and the Toronto, Toronto and the Canadian people are so nostalgic. You know what I mean? They get really nostalgic about shit. You know what I mean? I think that's why they always, you know what I mean? That's why it's always been a perfect place. Besides, that's where Brett's from. It's always been a perfect place for the Hearts. Is because you know what I mean? They're so nostalgic that way.
And Hogan has had 2 big super matches in Canada.
Yeah.
He's lost the both.
He lost 2. He lost both of his matches at WrestleMania in that same dome.
At least the second one was better than the first one, but then again, that was 90, so things had it involved.
Well, yeah, because Hogan had to. That's sad when Hogan has to carry the match. Like the Warrior was ready to go home after like 5 minutes in that match at WrestleMania 6. And Hogan was like, "No, I don't think so, man. I'm not going to hand you the belt after 5 minutes."
You could already see that he was ready. That he was already ready to blow up by the time he got to the ring because he'd be in the ring. It was like, dude, stop running to the ring. If you're going to be like, get that lung in.
Like he just blew him. He would psych himself out. You know what I mean? The Warrior and not to mention running to the ring. But he was the Warrior was a true case of someone who would psych himself out, you know. And he was proof that just because you look real good doesn't mean you have good cardio at
I mean,
all.
he looked like $1 million, but he wasn't that good in the ring. He went what? Punches, forearms, kicks, body
Because
slam, boot to the face, and a
I don't think the
splash.
Warrior ever got in ring. There's a thing called condition, and there's a thing called ring condition. And a ring condition basically means cardio and bump condition. He never spent long enough in a match to get cardio or get used to bumping. You know what I
Because
mean?
his,
So
his
it's like,
condition was bodybuilding.
yeah, that's it.
Two
He's
different
never in ring.
things.
Yeah, he
Because
was
that's what
never.
he ever. I mean, even I watched a thing about him. They were talking about him and Sting when they were first coming into it was Jerry Jarrett, and they're just like, they look like $1 million. They both suck. Sting got better at least.
Yeah,
Give that to Sting.
Oh,
Warrior
hell yeah.
got mental.
Yeah, he got more happy with himself, and it made him even lazier, and made him feel like since he was lazier and more obnoxious that he deserved even more money. You know, not to talk ill about the dead, but you know,
I know.
in a lot of ways, you know, Jim Hellwig was not a good guy. He's not a good person. He was racist. He was, I mean, you know,
You're homophobic. My favorite story involves him and Andre. I think it was
uh,
Heenan. He kept telling him, you know, there's a spot when Andre, you know, he gets stuck in the road. He kept him slow down. He wouldn't listen. And he's silly. He goes, one night, y'all, you see is boom, paint goes flying off. Problem fixed. He never did it again.
he'll learn. Yeah.
Good old Andre. What was I heard one story? The Nasty Boys, before they were working there, they were backstage, and Andre saw them. He's playing like some game, and Andre's like, "Get out!" Like, no, we're here to visit. Get out! No, we're here to visit. All of a sudden, he goes, Andre jumped up, that tape went flying. He goes, we didn't bother to see who's chasing us. We ran the hell out of the building when Andre stood up all pissed.
Yeah, you heard that story about the Nasty Boys, didn't you? About what happened when they were,
we got a good question though.
With them and Shamrock.
No, what Cal just asked. That's a very good question. Thoughts on Benoit?
Thoughts on Benoit? Great wrestler, great product from the dungeon. He always prided himself after Dynamite Kid. He always did great work. Deserved a better push work wise than what he got. He finally started getting one toward the end a little bit. What he did was horrible. But this was things where if you're going to be a true fan of his and his work, you've got to separate what he did from his work. If you can't do that, then you can't be a fan. You know what I mean?
There's a clip, I don't know if you see it. Someone was heckling at Paul Heyman about that. And he goes, Benoit's my boy. And he goes, first off, he told the guy, he's like, fuck you. He goes, in-ring talent, one of the best. As a human being, he was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Again, but that's the thing is, in the ring,
you can't take the work from him. Yeah, you can't.
I've seen, I think it was Mike Enos. I think they had WCW had a match, and afterwards they showed Mike Enos is walking away from the ring. Oh my God, all black, blue, and red on the chest. But again, as a human being, he's garbage. His surviving son wants to be in wrestling. And I heard at one point he wanted to use his dad's name.
Right. Oh.
Don't use his dad's name. Already, but people hear who he is. They're gonna be hesitant to book him.
Yeah.
I mean, the kid could be as good or better than his dad in ring wise. He could be one of the all-time best. But he's got an uphill. Because he's Chris Benoit's son. But if he goes, I'm Chris Benoit Jr., it's be like,
yeah. Ooh. Are you talking about the one that was in the Dark Side of the Ring documentary? That one?
The surviving son.
Yeah.
But and the kid's had a crappy thing handed to him. Bless his heart.
Yeah. Now he's the son from Benoit's first marriage, right?
I think But again, he's got an uphill battle. So, but don't use his dad's name. That's just going to make it worse.
Yeah.
Anybody who goes, oh, that's David or Daniel, whatever his name is. Oh, that's Chris Benoit's kid. They're going to be like, I don't know if I want to book him.
Right.
And he can end up being one of the best out there. He can be hella good.
Yeah.
But he's got an uphill battle.
This is Edge's last year. He said he's actually called it. I want to know your opinion on Judgment Day. Were they better with Edge or not? I liked it a lot more when Edge
right
was
now. I've been known when I watch some of the pay-per-views, when I'm not doing the watch-alongs with Jim and I'm just watching by myself, I get up and walk out of the room. I go to the bathroom, go get something to eat. It's okay. Finn Balor is getting up there. Finn Balor, good wrestler, good teacher.
Yeah.
Becky Lynch and JD, what's his name? The guy that just showed up on SmackDown. JD McGuga, whatever. The kid that attacked Dolph Ziggler. That's one of his students.
Right.
So, good wrestler, good teacher. Damian Priest, not properly utilized. Rhea Ripley, badly booked.
Yeah. Well, she became champion, but did she become champion because Charlotte was going to take another extended vacation, or because she deserved it?
But right now, you got the weakness. Dominique, who's a bad. Here's this whole thing.
Hot heel, but because
he cannot win a match without mommy.
Right.
Like, he watched that bit with Apollo Crews. Yeah. Crews goes to call him out, and he goes right behind Rhea, and Rhea's like, "Oh, you want to fight him?"
Yeah, that's a good dynamic, but that's what I'm curious about. Is he a heel? Is he a great heel because of him, or because of the way he's been booked, and because of him turning on his dad and them loving his dad so much? Would he still begin to out of a heel? I doubt it.
He's one of those coward heels.
Right, which is great. We don't have enough of them.
But yeah, he can't win without her help. He can't stand up to anybody without her. And so if he were to be separated from her and have to be on his own. The one thing though, by traveling with working with them, is Finn. He can learn so much from Finn, and working out Rhea.
I agree with Kel though, man. They were so much better with Edge. With Edge leading, sitting in that chair looking obnoxious while they stood up there beside him, and he just stood there looking like he was God. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was fantastic.
Because he's a good heel. Now, if he was still the leader that brought Dom in, there's someone else he can learn from.
Right.
Because didn't he get trained by Lance Storm? Is that who trained Dom?
Edge?
No, Dominique, wasn't he? I want to say it was let's see. Yeah. He was trained by Jay Lethal, Conan, Lance Storm, and Rey Mysterio. Standout names: Conan and Lance Storm.
Conan stole the Hall of Fame, didn't he?
Oh, yes. And then they cut to Dom, and Dom's just sitting there with like a blank, almost blank, kind of annoyed look, like, kiss my ass.
Conan's always been able to get on that mic and steal shit, man.
Oh, yeah.
Always.
I mean, he could, in WCW, come out, Orale, La Riba La Raza.
Yeah.
Who's Bowdy and Rowdy, and the crowd would be in his hand.
Yeah, that was
Eddie and let's see, Dom and Rhea's recreated China and Eddie. Not really, unless we wait for Dom to get caught in the shower with the women. I don't think his fiance would like that.
Eddie was so much better. He on that mic and everything. He had that. They will never be able to recreate that. Eddie was miles ahead of
especially after Eddie got sober and he came back.
Yeah.
Once he beat those demons, I mean, he had some good stuff in WCW. Don't get me wrong. But once he was able to beat those demons and come back, heel or face, there's that famous moment for that ladder match with Rey Mysterio where Vicky missed a spot. And I'm sure they censored this on the WWE Network. But you can find the instance in which he missed the spot. You can hear Eddie, "Where the fuck is Vicky?"
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, oh damn, he's pissed.
Yeah. Did you hear a few weeks ago? Chavo was talking shit about how they needed to stop throwing his name out there and using his shit. I think that was a work, man, because
That's what that suggested.
I definitely think that was a work because why would he do that? You know what I mean? He was a little strong with it. I thought he overworked it just a little. I think they're going to slip him in there eventually. Oh, we're
Well,
going.
yeah. Here's the thing about Eddie. Putting his name out there is a sign of respect.
Right. And he's not going to get mad about it. He's going to,
Yeah. Chavo is Chavo. I mean, I never thought much of him. I mean, his work at WCW with the Toy Horse, playing the nutcase. Even when he was a nutcase, he wasn't entertaining. But Eddie was just throwing his name out there.
I don't think Finn fits in the Judgment Day at all. I thought that was a mistake from day one, and I've heard why they did that, why they decided to do that, but I just
They
don't
wanted to do
understand.
something magical or supernatural with them, and one rumor was Edge said no.
Yeah, something like that. So they decided to switch it off, and plus he was talking about this being like one more year left, and they kind of wanted him to go to do a face thing for that last year. Right after he had just, what I mean, he hadn't even been, healed that long. So now you got the thing where you got to bounce him back and forth, and that never works
Yeah,
out
and
really.
they're going to sign Edge to a Legends contract.
Yeah.
Because if they don't, you're going to have his good friend, his buddy Christian, going, "Hey Adam, come over here, gotta meet
Yeah.
this guy named Tony Khan."
I just wish they would find an in between somewhere. Like forever, the championships didn't mean nothing because you'd only hold them for a few weeks or a month or two at the top, and now you got your champions forever. You had your Usos champions for what, a couple of years. You had Roman Reigns 1,000 days. You got Bianca Belair. She's been champion for a year or two now. You got to find an in between somewhere. You can't have every champion being long any more than you can have every champion losing it after a month. You
Well,
know,
back in the '80s, we had those long title reigns.
long.
Like Hogan went from 80,
Over
80,
years.
yeah, up to 90, yeah, it was 84 to 88, then 89 to 90. But that his title reign, that it was 84 to 88. When's there been a title reign like that long? We've had a year plus, but we haven't had that type of title reign.
Hogan's the longest since Reigns. Reigns is right behind him right now. He's behind him by like a half a year maybe or something like that at this point. But it shit. I mean, remember before Hogan, what we had Backlund for what 5-6 years or something, and then we had two reigns by San Martino. One of them was like 7 years, 8 years.
Oh yeah, we got these long reigns. But do you think the fans like that? Oh,
Not anymore. Not that one.
Short title reigns.
Yeah, I agree with Kal-El. I think they're wanting to make Reigns longer than Hogan. I think they're looking to put him over the Hogan 4-year mark. Because Hogan was right at 4 years or just under 4 years.
At the end. Yeah, I mean, but Reigns, I want to see him lose the title. We need someone in there to come in.
Yeah.
And who's he got to work with though?
I don't know. Just like I mean, you got Ron Breaker coming up, but they kept him in NXT so long because they want to keep. I thought forever they should move him to the main roster. I know why they haven't, because he's like the best thing they had there in NXT. They didn't want to lose that, so instead they're moving other people.
Well, Russell, blading WWE with PG, so you'll never see that. Well, supposedly they might do something.
Yeah, they're about to add a third hour, and on Raw they're going to make that third hour like a more adult That's when they're gonna have blood and shit, I guess.
You want to talk, but then you get AEW. John Moxley can't have a freaking match without bleeding. Oh,
yeah, he's that's his strengths, man. Is all that crazy shit, beating himself up and shit like that. Yeah, that's his one strength. It's shit like that is like why Jim Cornette doesn't like him. Is because that's all he does.
Corny.
That crazy backyard shit. He's not a backyard kind of guy.
No, and
hey man, how you doing?
I love Cordy. I love him.
Oh, so do I, man. I listen to his show daily.
Love him or hate him when he speaks. He speaks his opinion. He's an asshole. Gotta give him that. But some of the shit that comes out of his mouth. I remember I was watching this interview with old clip, pre-WWE clip of Kevin Owens talking about when they were Ring of Honor. He was supposed to throw these chairs. He was supposed to miss them and act like, but he's like, I gotta act like I was trying to hurt him. He goes, I honestly was trying to hurt him. I wanted to hit him. It's like, damn, there really is bad blood between those two.
You know, and at the same time, no one can ever say that Cornette didn't give all to the wrestling business either. He gave a huge amount of years of time he was young, and he gave his body too. Remember when he hung from the scaffold and comes out of broken knees?
Yeah, and he Big Boss Man, who was Big Bubba Rogers, missed him, and he blew both his knees out. But he's just, and people, you know, they did mess him. There's a story. It was the Nation of Domination versus DOA in the back, and they had filmed it earlier in the day, and they ended up hitting a car and cracking the windshield. Cornette's car, and he didn't know. And it's supposed to be the backstage, and they're watching it, and he's like, oh my God, son of a bitch. He got pissed, and he stormed out when he saw what they did. He was all pissed, like, my car.
Yeah. He's the fast food king, but somehow this guy seems to stay somewhat healthy. But the way he loves to eat those cheeseburgers, I don't know how the hell he's never had kind of heart problem.
My favorite story, I don't know if you heard this. This was told by Jim Ross. Cornette didn't like to fly, so he would take those meds to help put him to sleep. Well, he didn't calculate it right one time. So they're sitting each other on the plane, and in the air, Cornette wakes up. He's grabbing on his arm like, oh my God, we're gonna crash. And Jim's like, I'm like, not Jim, but Jay. I was like, don't mind him. Cornette's grabbing him like, freaking out. I guess I'm gonna find it and send that clip to you. It's just like him telling the story of this Jim just going batshit crazy. It's like, because he didn't calculate right.
Do you think first of all, what's your thoughts on Asuka? And do you think that they should have turned her heel, or do you think that she would have done just fine as babyface? The only reason I think they would have turned her heel is if they plan on having her cheat the title away from Bianca.
I think she should be neutral.
Like she's basically always been.
Yeah, but the thing is, okay, she's this kick-ass wrestler. We've seen her stuff in Japan. Not all of those talent do good at WWE. No, not all of the female talent. I'm sorry, foreign talent do good. You know, Drew McIntyre has done decent for himself. Gunther has done decent for himself. Sheamus has done pretty good. But let's look at this. She did good, really good in NXT. She's one of those NXT people. Right. Who kicked ass. Now, she was never beat for that title. She had was it collarbone injury or shoulder injury?
I don't remember.
She had an injury, so then she had to vacate the title.
I think it was collarbone.
And then she's one of the ones who came up and, like, a lot of, again, the NXT talent. Finn Balor. Let's see. The only people who have done decent for themselves, really good, have been from NXT. Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, to an extent, Bray. Well,
right.
He's kind of.
He's never realized his potential because I think he might be mental.
But the biggest names who come from NXT and conquer the company as Seth and Roman. Everybody else, well, Charlotte, and Becky, and to an extent Bayley, but on average, and she's kick ass, but she's never done good on the main roster. And someone said that when she came out with the face paint, I watched a video ago, it was a waste of time. I loved it. It's like another persona.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is
she's like the female Muda. Muda is her number one inspiration. Muda's her favorite of all time.
When he went into the Hall of Fame and he did the whole spray to the mist. Oh yeah, she was marking out like she wasn't Asuka the wrestler. Right. She was Asuka the wrestling fan.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, hell, I'd be right with her too, marking out cool, too. I'd be going, Muda's cool, especially if he did it to somebody. I'd be marking out.
Muda was cool as hell.
She's not done good in the main roster, the too good, and then she left and she came back, and that division that's Raw, right? Is based around Bianca.
Yeah.
And so someone in a video called her the latest flavor of the month in terms of challengers. So as soon as this whole thing's done, somebody else will step up.
You don't think she'll take it from Bianca Belair?
They are so behind Bianca right now that no.
True, but she's been champion for a minute, and they've you know what I mean, they finally got off the Usos, but only because they wanted to build this thing up between them and and Solo and Reigns. Do you think Solo and Reigns will take the tag team belts? I think that would be such a mistake.
No. I think they're building up to something with the bloodline and the Usos and them. And it's been talked that they're eyeing Solo for something Solo-wise.
Yeah.
Hey, watch that last SmackDown. Or was it Raw or SmackDown, whatever, when Reigns, I think it was Raw, when Reigns got mad at the Usos and he turned around and he accidentally bumped into Solo. He kind of backed up like
kind of looked at him and Solo was like,
like he's afraid of him. And Solo is he's a big boy.
Yeah.
I mean, look at that guy. He's big, but they're building him up pretty good. I like the way they do Solo. I didn't like him in NXT. He was like, well, my family abandoned me and left me on the streets, but I don't need them. And now he's in the bloodline like, oh, yeah, family. Like 2 months ago, you were saying screw family.
I think what'll happen is the Usos will come out and they will try to help them win to get the tag team championships to impress Reigns. They'll screw up even further, cause them to lose. And of course, Sami Zayn and Owens will keep the belts. And then that's when they'll, you know what I mean? Him and Solo will probably turn on them.
But people, here's the big shocker. Sami's going to be in Saudi Arabia. He was banned.
That's true, yeah.
Because that people don't know is that his family, refugees from Syria, and there was issues with Saudi and Syria, and I guess those issues kind of resolved. So they've lifted his ban. So he's going to be there. That's the big surprise because he at one point, I think it was he didn't even want to go there because of everything that was happening with Syria. So it's like when they first announced it, I was like, wait, what? I thought there was an issue there. So I think it'd be good because the bloodline. And there are other people who could join it.
I was sorry to see that end, man. That was so good with Sami Zayn saying shit like Usi and stuff. That was so entertaining.
He freaking broke Roman. When he goes, he's just not Usi. You see, Reigns.
He's is that the problem? Is you're just not feeling Usi? Yeah.
And you can always tell when he would break Solo.
Yeah.
Because Solo would either do one of these or he'd put the towel over his head to cover his face.
Yeah.
He's like, oh shit. Even they did a thing with um up down down when they made a mod in one of the Tekken games for Solo, and he saw it, and all of a sudden you didn't see him. So the camera couldn't see him because he was reacting, and everyone's jumping. And he's just like, "Oh shit!" And he's dedicated. He's dedicated to it, though. That's to me. That shows he's dedicated to his character. He doesn't want to be seen as, you know.
Yeah, they all almost laughed, except Heyman. You know, his face did not change. He's the only one.
And speaking of laughing, supposedly there was some kind of bet, because I'm watching a video about laughing. There was a bet, apparently, if all truth can break Brock in the ring on TV. He did. There's that famous clip. He's like, "I will throw you out." Payment's in on the ropes, and he's looking.
Yeah.
Truth is, "I will throw you out of the ring and eliminate you, Paul Heyman."
Yeah, fuck you.
And Brock's like, laughing, and Heyman's like, hell?
He loves working with R-Truth, man. He's the only guy that can make him laugh like that.
Okay, that's a Jack Russell Terrier, Russell. But no, but Solo. Well, okay, right now, let me see if they have anybody in developmental who could join the bloodline. There's Ava, Rock's daughter.
Yeah.
There's Tamina. I have heard that Umaga's son is training at Booker T's school.
Oh, okay.
So, I would like to see what's his name? He's an MLW. Let me look his name up. Let's see, MLW, because they got this whole deal. It's not Lance Anawahu, because he's not. I don't think he's related. He's just a big boy. Jacob Fatu.
Yes. Yeah. I heard about him a year or two ago.
I've seen him a bit.
The Cornette show was talking about that.
Yeah, I've seen him. Because you can watch MLW, and they just did the Battle Cup thing, which is like the version of the Royal Rumble. And they built him up as like the badass. Like he could come out and just fuck people up, which I like.
Russell says Heyman reminds me of the old Bud Bundy.
But take in mind, I've heard that before supposedly the WWE is on a freezing ban that they were eyeing at one point.
Right.
Certain individuals from New Japan, Tamatanga, and his younger brother. But have you seen his younger brother?
I don't know.
He's a tall boy. He's like 6'7", 6'8", maybe 6'9" at the tallest. Yeah. Not bulky. Because remember, the other adopted sons of Haku. But he's a big boy. If he could get that bulk up, oh man, he could be get that bulk up, he'd be a monster.
Speaking of monsters, man, have they wasted almost?
I think I've said this on Jim's when he's watch-alongs. He needs to be treated like they did with at one point with Andre, special attraction.
I don't get it.
Bring him out, but he goes against Brock. Jobs to Brock. A month later, Seth.
Yeah. And
bring him out
last winter, last winter he did the same thing with Strowman. You know, he dominates for a few minutes, and then when they do one big move to him, it's over. So it's like he can dish it out. The way it comes off is he can dish it out, but once he actually takes some impact, he can't take it. So it's almost like he comes off like he's got a glass jaw. You know,
what they need to do is kind of do a little bit when he came in, he was AJ's bodyguard. Have him kind of fill that role a little bit, stand in the background, occasionally do something, and occasionally wrestle. But don't have him lose every single single time he wrestles.
And
That
if he
weakens
does,
him.
don't pin him. Damn it, don't pin him. You know what I mean?
And if he's gonna be beat, have multiple people. Like he had, like, put him in a match where he's against, like, I think, what's a team? The Viking Raiders and
Yeah,
Braun Strowman or something. Like, the odds are against him, and maybe he's doing good, and then things go against him.
2 and 3 people. Yeah,
Yeah, not
yeah,
just a guy he's what, a foot or more taller than Seth, and what, he's almost 200 pounds more than Seth or
yeah.
something like that. I could see with Brock. He lasted longer than I did. By the way, I thought he would with Brock.
He's
I thought
he's
I
he's
thought they would
built like
have the
a
match
creative
short.
wrestler. You know, like a wrestler, like in the old school games, like in the old SmackDown versus Raw and shit
Oh,
games. You know, wrestlers you'd create.
yeah,
That's what he looks like. One of those created fuckers that you can make. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Back before people could get that big and still be built like a normal dude.
yeah. But he needs to be, like I said, treated as a special attraction, and don't have him be beat
Yeah.
every single time he wrestles.
Yeah.
Is that you're going to weaken it?
Definitely, Russell. The old Maple Leaf Gardens. That's back when the Boston Garden was going, and you know you had all those people. Yeah, I remember that was back in what they call the golden era. My favorite Savage was the Intercontinental Champion, and he was feuding with Tito Santana. Took it from him, and then Steamboat came up and got to feuding with him because he busted
Yeah, yeah.
his
One of my favorite. I remember, like, the video package or something they did where Steamboat had to work on speech therapy
yes,
to learn to talk, and he's like, savage.
yeah,
Like, the
yeah.
first word he said, and he had to fight was savage. That was a tremendous match. Russell, Thunder, and Nitro. Okay, I decided I'm going to watch Thunder or Nitro from the get go. Okay, 95. Okay, it's not too bad. 96. Okay, 97, 98. Well, not that bad. 99. God, I'd rather drive nails into my head, red hot nails into my head. The writing, the booking. Oh, what was a 3 hour long program, and you only get one match, one or two matches in the first hour. Everything else is just video package, video package. Freaking David Flair was being seduced by Tori Wilson, and he can't look her in the face. He's like, "Oh, yeah, I'm so proud of you." And he's just like, "I know,
Yeah.
but my daddy's so mean to me."
That
Dude,
was
he
such
ain't
a
got the
waste
guts
of
to look at a
Tori.
beautiful woman. I mean, yeah, okay, Tori was a beautiful woman. It still is.
Oh, yeah. She
So
was
it
such a
might be a
waste of
bit, it might be a bit hard, to look her in the face, because he'd be like, "I'm sorry, Tori, sorry." But it was like the worst writing. I'm like, how did this company make it to 2001? Somebody explain to me.
I don't know because they started losing steam right before when Bischoff ran out of any ideas. Which let's face it, Bischoff never really had a whole lot. He just kind of hit it lucky with the shit he took from Japan with the NWO,
Yep.
and then he rode with it. But Bischoff has never been this golden goose that they act like he was, man. He just kind of hit it lucky with an idea that was somebody else's, my opinion.
Yeah, and then they made the mistake of citing Vince Russo.
And then that finished killing it. Yeah, that was the end. Yeah, so
I mean, I've
bad.
heard said that Russo had bad ideas in WWE, but he had Vince to filter it out to say, no, 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 no,
Yeah.
no. And
The shit he
Dustin
did,
in WCW, 7. Remember 7?
yeah.
What was it? Well, that was his name?
Yes. 7 with the warded black and the white. He had the total white face. Yeah. He did such a bad job. I mean, it was such a bad job, mind you, that people accused him of being a spy and being a plant for the WWF. That's how you're doing that bad of a job.
Yeah. He wasn't the only one that came over. There was Vince Russo, Ed Ferrara.
Uh-huh.
There was a third one.
I don't remember.
It was a younger one. And for whoever, they made fun of JR's Bell's palsy. That was disrespectful.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
I'm Oklahoma. I'm Oklahoma.
that was ridiculous.
Oh.
Yeah, because that's all they had. That's all he could do. That and stupid shit like Viagra on a pole match. You know what I mean? Just what the fuck?
The Fat Chick Thriller. How do you go from putting on these matches in FMW and ECW, tearing it down with Taka Michinoku, to driving to the ring in the Partridge bus, going, I like fat chicks, I'm the Fat Chick Thriller.
Yeah, Buff Bagwell's mom.
So, I mean, he just, oh, Judy
Stampede
on a
Wrestling, Bret Hart,
forklift.
yeah. Stampede had some good shit, man. You had Bret Hart over there. You had Dynamite Kid over there. You had Davey Smith over there.
Owen, Brian. Oh,
Bad News Allen. Yeah, you had a lot of really good people in there at one point, man.
oh yeah.
Speaking of that, what figure we could watch along a couple of matches here. What sounds good to check out, man? What era? What you gonna do some golden era or?
Oh yeah, let's see what we have. Do they have a golden era, or do we have to? So we got documentaries, 80s flashback. We can do 80s flashback, which is down a bit.
Okay. Is it up from the Billy Graham one? And
It's below. It goes wrestling's greatest API superstars, the Attitude Era, Ruthless Aggression documentary. So it's below. It's a few below.
Okay. Because I'm definitely want to talk about Billy for a minute here, but figure might as well watch a few matches first.
Oh yeah.
You see,
because they got some of the old shows like Saturday Night Main Event.
Oh, I love that shit. Yeah, that's
All Star Wrestling, old school, old prime time. But oh man,
Attitude Era. Okay, so it's down from Attitude Era, right?
Yeah, so documentaries and then 80s flashback.
Oh, cool. Okay, so do you want to go with the old school championship and All Star, or Saturday Event, prime time?
Yeah, let's do old school.
The first old school? Or yeah,
Yeah.
let's go here. That shit has got 18. Hell yeah. Okay. You got
An old picture of Brett.
Season 2, 1973. Season 4 is 75. Season 5 is 76. 6, 77. 7, 78. Do you want to go to the 80s or?
Yeah, trying. Okay, which one's the? Let's see. Season 15 is 86. So let's see what season 11 is. We can start with season 11, which starts in 82.
Okay. We got Rocky Johnson versus Mr. Fuji. Pedro Morales versus Magnificent Morocco. Or the next one is Morales and Buddy Rose, Big John Studd, and Jules Strongbow. Okay. I don't remember him. Studd and Backlund.
Give me a little bit of a problem here. It's only showing me season 1, so let me season 11. Because season 11, episode 1, Ball Backlund defends his title against. Ooh. Ball Backlund defending the season 11 first episode of WWE Old School. Looks like Graham challenging Backlund for the title.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, I see it here in a lumberjack match.
Oh, yeah.
All right, cool.
All right. Just tell me when to hit play.
All right. If anybody else wants to join us on this on Peacock on WWE Network, we're checking out WWE Old School, and it's season 11, and it would be like one of the first ones down. It's season 11, episode 1, from December 28th, 1982. If anybody wants to.
We got Peacock acting up with me a little bit. That's the only thing. Why?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. But man, when it comes to the Graham, his look, his mic work.
Oh man.
Who didn't copy that? Hogan, Ventura, Steiner, copied that. Yeah, I've heard that story. Is they had sent Austin a list of names, Fang, Ven, Frost, and all that stuff, and he was trying to figure out a name, and she made him some tea, and said that if he didn't drink it, he would
Yes,
get
it's gonna turn stone cold.
and just went. There you go.
Yep. That
Oh,
was
remember the whole mic used to come down like that?
yeah. All right. Okay. So, well, I guess we can go ahead and start it, and that way, if anybody wants to, they can join in with us. All right. Go with 3, 2, 1.
Okay. Here you go. I miss like the old way the mics used to come down. Okay. I think they brought it out when Edge had a match at Mania, and they played the old audio clips for Howard Finkel.
Yeah. See, oh man, the thing was the best, man. Presented the most complete form possible due to original production technical difficulty.
I skipped the intro to see who this match is trying to. Old ring coats, man, the old looks. I didn't become a wrestling fan until about 88. When about 87, 88, someone loaned my brother a copy of WrestleMania 2 and 3. And it hooked me.
I was my older brother, he's like 17 years older than me. He passed away a year or two back. But he was so into wrestling, man, and he I remember being a little tiny kid and him watching it, and he got me into it.
I'm trying to figure out who these wrestlers are.
So
they announced everybody: the timekeeper, the judges, the guy selling the peanuts.
That looks like SD Jones maybe in there. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure yet, but it looks like it. Yeah, it's like SD Special Delivery Jones, and I don't know who he's wrestling. It's just some guy. Yeah, Dr. Earl Shaw. They're telling who the doctors are and everything.
Did he say Eddie? That's Eddie Gilbert? Did I hear that right? Oh, damn. Eddie Gilbert?
I haven't got that far on it yet.
Well, he announced the guy, his opponent, and he goes, I could have sworn he said Eddie Gilbert.
No.
Did I hear that right? When did Eddie Gilbert wrestle?
Yeah, when I first started actually watching this is what it looked like. Eddie Gilbert, yep.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
That, as much as SD Jones takes me back, the name Eddie Gilbert. Wow. Damn.
Yep.
Was it Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert? Was that what he called himself?
I had the original ones, the original hard rubber figures that they made. I had an SD Jones one.
I think I had Hogan or something. I'm not sure.
I had like 40 of them.
Those were, way. Was that LGN or was that somebody else?
Yeah. It was the LJNs, yeah.
Because they used to make all the old toys. In fact, I have some of the toys from the 90s. Right here, in fact. There you go, Gore.
Cool. Oh, yeah.
And the one figure here, the Executioner, that's Terry Gordy. They put him in a mask.
Man.
And the only way to get that figure was this box set. Vince and Gorilla Monsoon.
I've got One of my new elites and ultimate wrestling figures back here behind me. Here, I'll flick the light here so you can see it better.
Imagine having those old, plastic rubbery figures in decent shape.
Yeah.
Russell, I have one of the documentaries they made on Bruiser Brody, things like the Last Outlaw.
You probably can't see them real good, but
I would love to find the old figures. Is that a Matt Hardy in there in the white coat?
There's a shitload of them, man. You got the Mega Powers up here, all kinds of shit. There's Shawn Michaels down there. There's Flair. There's Razor Ramon. Yeah. Down there, you got a couple Undertakers. I got 3 different levels. I'll do a video where I show them all.
Cool. Now, I wish I had some more of the old Jack, except for Kim Shamrock. Kim Shamrock had one of the worst figures ever. It looks nothing like him.
They just put a new one out. I'm not sure what it looks like. They just come out with another new one.
Because I don't think they were doing face scans really back then.
Right.
I'll go on my photo. So when you look at Ken Shamrock, it's like, that ain't Ken Shamrock.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm blown away by seeing Eddie Good, but I have not seen him wrestle. I know he passed away years ago, but I haven't seen him in a long time. I don't know if his brother Doug wrestles anymore.
Oh, it does have spaces where it divides the different matches. Here, I'll move forward in this one and see what match we got next, so we don't have to spend 20 minutes on SD Jones. You see what we got here. Of course, between every time you do that, it makes you go through an ad for 60 seconds. But yeah, man, Superstar Billy Graham, he'd been in the bad way for quite a while, but
yeah,
really... I guess everything started. That's the only time I ever heard of someone getting an infection in their skull. I mean, what?
Yeah, he had a lot of health problems, and that picture of him they would post.
Yeah,
it was like, is that Billy? Like, that can't be Billy.
Okay, this is okay. You gotta get past this one too. This is Tony Gurria and some other guy.
Peacock acted up on me a little bit. I'm trying to fix it.
Yeah, I'm dealing with an ad to give me each time I skip through here. So there gotta be some other folks in here.
The main events used to be specials too. Way before it was an hour-long program, it was specials.
So we could probably even, I don't know.
We could watch one of the old pay-per-views too. It's another thing we can do.
Oh, okay. The third match is the Polish Power Ivan Putski versus Buddy Rose.
But Playboy Buddy Rose?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
And Putski just took aim and started stomping on his robe. So,
do you ever see his son?
Yes. Yeah. Scott. Yeah.
He came into the WWE, the WWF, right when they were doing the light heavyweight. Is that it?
I don't know where the chat went, Russell. This is a little different, man. The people that usually join us on here are usually the horror fans and the film fans. So a lot of people joining in and out probably
like, what's going on?
Yeah, I haven't done a wrestling one in a year, so you know what I mean.
And the thing is odds are you're gonna find there's a lot of horror fans that are like wrestling.
So,
Hey,
especially when we click all the way back to 82 and we're watching the old school thing, a lot of them probably aren't even wanting to hear about that. So this is just something that I do every now and then. My algorithm got screwed up about a month and a half, 2 months back anyway. So, I guess this won't kill it any work. I went from getting 500-600 views down to like 80. So,
that's still more than what I get. I get the views. Never. Well, the most I've gotten is on a live stream. I think I got like 100, maybe.
I was getting on a regular basis. So over the winter, I was getting between 250 and like when I would get off the live stream, there was times I already had 400 or 500 views. My algorithm was booming at that time, and then just blam, after 2 or 3 months, it just hit, man. I was like, what the hell? What happened? What did I do?
I skipped ahead to the Putski and Rose. Damn, look at freaking Putski. Wasn't that tall of a guy, but was he put together?
Oh yeah, he was thick,
They called him the
big dude.
Polish powerhouse. It's like no wonder.
Yeah, he was still around a good amount when I really started getting into it. In the Hulkamania and shit. He was still around somewhat then.
His son never really accomplished anything. He looked more like one of those romance novel guys from the old romance novels. That's what his son looked like.
Yeah. See, man's here. She's watching a movie. Yeah. What movie you watching?
Watching Bad Taste, man, made by the same people who made um, Dead Alive. Okay, what do you think about that old rule I used to have about throwing someone over the top rope would get you disqualified?
Yeah, the AWA did that all the way up until they closed, I think.
WCW did it for years and years, and I'd be watching going, good match, and he gets thrown out. You're disqualified.
Yeah. They stopped that for a while, and then when Bill Watts came in and took over there briefly, he reinstituted it. And then when he left, of course, they went through
Cornette
that.
tells a story where they had some guy and they had a battle royal, and he's like, you'd have all these disqualifications because people would throw each other over the rope.
What's in
I was like,
Pearl? I haven't seen it. I have not
Pearl,
seen the Pearl.
all I got is I'll always stand by the fact she rode that scarecrow like a pro.
I have not seen that one yet. I got it but when I bought it, it was in one of those Walmart plastic cases, and I couldn't tell. So the chick clicked it out and put it in the bag. And then I got home and noticed the slipcover was all tore up. And you know how I am as a collector. I didn't open it, the plastic on the actual case.
I got two
I'm
copies of it.
I'm gonna take it.
I got two copies of it because there's different slip covers.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna take it back, and I'm gonna exchange it and get a better slip.
Yeah. It was who was it? Bones or somebody ordered something and that happened. Or was it Barn? Was it somebody? Was it Sean? Somebody ordered something and they got it in the mail and it was all messed up and they had to go and deal with getting it replaced.
That's happened to Sean a lot, especially through Amazon.
There we go. Don Morocco and who is that? Oh, Captain Lou.
May is coming. They just announced today that May is coming out on Second Sight, limited edition. I pre-ordered it today. So just like the other night we were talking about May and how it needs to be coming out on a better format, well, it's coming out on a nice one on Second Sight. So yeah, I love Magnificent Morocco. I just got his figure. I'm just waiting for that one and my Superstar Billy Graham figure to show up. Yep, versus Pedro Morales.
Most of the guys in this ring, except for maybe the ref, I don't know, and Morocco, are dead.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when you're watching something, you realize, shit, most of these guys are dead.
Yeah. Actually, considering everything, Don Morocco looks really good. He had that podcast here a while back with James Russo, the one that does the one now with God damn it.
Now, I heard Morales was a super nice guy.
Yeah.
Very appreciative of his fans and stuff.
Dutch.
Yeah, Pearl is the sequel. Well, the prequel.
Yes.
And this is before Lou became the voice of Mario.
Oh yeah, definitely. The only thing Mario had done up to this point was being Donkey Kong, basically.
That's about right. That's 82 is about right.
Because Super Mario Brothers wasn't even a thing yet.
The freaking dragging Lou away from the ring. Wonder where this was at. Oh, it's Madison Square Garden. Duh.
Yeah, I call the old school ones for the most part, unless they specify different, or Madison Square Garden.
Man, they remember all the shows they used to do from there? That was the place for them. That's when, who was it? Was it Ring of Honor wanted to do or New Japan wanted to do a show there, and the WWE put up such a fuss. Mm-hmm. Oh, damn. There we go. Russell's fave. Haystack Callahan.
Yeah.
Ooh, Callahan. Oh, yeah. There's a name from the past. I was a Savage guy.
Macho Man, yep. In my opinion, the greatest all around, everything considered, the greatest all around ever.
In the ring, his look, his mic work, his character.
Yep, everything.
He was the first heel to make me honestly hate him because of how he treated Miss Elizabeth. Because as a little kid, I had such a crush on her.
Oh man, yeah. Yeah. When she first come in, she was real thin. And then about 88, 89, she put on a little bit of weight and looked very good.
Yeah, the OG, the original Sheik. His nephew was on AEW. They had this thing where like Chris Jericho's gonna work with Adam Cole, and he's like, "Oh, you got all these people." He's like, "Oh, there's 5 of us and 2 of you. What are you gonna do?" And Adam Cole's like, "Well, I called somebody who's homicider, suicider, genocide," and that music hit. That crowd pop.
He was on AEW. Yeah, I heard about that.
And the Jericho sold it by looking like, oh shit.
Because last thing I heard about him was that he was really sick and they thought he may not make it. Now all of a sudden he's on AEW.
Well, he's retired. He's had health problems, and then there was something happened at some convention he was at.
Yeah.
Didn't hear exactly. They said he collapsed. Didn't hear any more about what exactly was going on.
I was surprised to hear he was on there doing anything.
But he's retired, so in-ring action. WWE kind of ruined him a little bit. Not just with bad booking, but they decided to make him speak.
Yeah.
Because he never spoke on camera. It was always somebody else, and all of a sudden he's like speaking, and it was like, what? Sabu speaking? Excuse me, that's not right.
Well, 90% of the dudes that they brought in since this era here, since they did the big takeover of the territories, since that time when they brought everybody in right there, they made stars out of everybody. But since then, people that come in that are not an actual WWE product, they tear down, Look at Sting. I mean, Rob Van Dam, Scott Steiner,
AJ Styles.
Yeah, AJ is where?
Yeah, because it's like
Jericho, AJ Styles.
those people already have the establishment,
Yeah,
and I think part of it's because they can't mold them into what they want.
yeah. Well, Sting was the face of WCW, so there was no way they were going to push him over one of their guys. That wasn't going to happen.
I mean, guys like RVA, Just Incredible, Sandman, and Tommy Raven were top guys in ECW, never in WWE. Not that I make it. Bula.
I mean, I mean, remember what they did with DDP? They turned him into some weird stalker, and then he was gone, and then he came back, and he was that guy that did that smile.
Yeah,
To show off his
that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
And so talking about Abdullah, who was it? Somebody was in the Hall of Fame, got upset that they put Abdullah in and wanted to get rid of the ring. Was like, take me out. Who was that?
Yeah.
It was somebody who was upset over Abdullah being put in the Hall of Fame. Was it? Who was it?
Is Wendy Richter in there yet? She is, isn't she? Say she is. It might have been her if she was in there prior. Which I think she went in after Moore.
Let's see, somebody I just remember. Who was it? Because somebody was upset. Superstar. He was the one upset and was saying, "Take me out. Here's my ring."
Huh.
Oh yeah, he gave Hannibal hepatitis C and they took him to court.
Oh, Abdullah. Okay, you say Abdullah. Yeah.
But Hannibal got in trouble because he went blade crazy on a referee and ended up in trouble.
About a year ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that shit. He's Hannibal's an idiot. He's a fucking meathead.
I noticed on his YouTube channel, it's not always him interviewing people; it's somebody else.
You know, right? That's been here, yeah, which is good because when he talks, is like, yeah, he's got a fucking shitty attitude. He thinks it's like, God. So, you know, you would think this motherfucker was the be all end all wrestler, like this dude was.
That famous match with Snuka, or was that somebody else?
You what?
Okay, was it Morocco that was part of that famous match with him?
Yeah, when he jumped off the top of the cage. Yeah.
And Foley talks about it.
Yeah, Foley. Yeah, he hitchhiked to the arena. And seen it, yeah. That's when he did the superfly squat from the top of the cage on top of Morocco.
It's kind of weird watching these old matches because they have them so short nowadays. But they're having like actual wrestling matches that aren't short.
You're a Hannibal fan, huh Russell? You like that channel? That's one that I watched for a little while. He does got some good old shoot interviews. But I don't like him. I don't like his attitude. I would much rather. There's several others that I would prefer to watch over his.
You know, I understand everything that happened with Abdullah and him. That was messed up.
Yeah, that was wrong. Yeah,
but
Bob Orton almost did the same thing to Undertaker. Remember, Bob Orton had it, and then when he was bleeding, you know, the Undertaker went the fuck off.
Yeah. But Hannibal was hoping for a chance with the WWE. Never know exactly how close he actually was.
That's horrible what he did with that referee, man. That was horrible.
Did you see those hospital pictures once they cleaned the blood up?
Man.
I was like, holy shit.
That was unfucking necessary. And he went way overboard.
He tried to give his side of the story, acting like he did nothing wrong. Everyone else was like, oh, hell no.
That was ridiculous.
those old metal guard rails. I remember, didn't Brett hurt himself on one or something? He said like he hurt his chest, had trouble breathing after landing on that one time. Those old guard rails.
Yeah, he broke his sternum in a match against Dino Bravo. Dino hit the rope and knocked him off, and he did that spot that he always did when he jumped off and landed onto the rail. Except for this time he hit it wrong and broke his sternum.
Oof. Man, I haven't been to a wrestling show in person in a long time.
And that was and that was a spot Brett did all the time. It just didn't work out that time.
You know, I think they have the AEWA pay-per-view, the famous one with the rap. I think they have that on the network.
Huh.
You ever seen that video of them rapping?
I don't think so.
They did, like, I guess because they saw the Chicago Bulls Super Bowl Shuffle, so they decided to do like the AWA Shuffle, whatever. They had like Nick Bockwinkel, Shawn Michaels, and Marty Jannetty, and I think who else, all rapping.
There was a YouTuber that did one a few years back, and it was the sex offender shuffle.
I like that.
Him and his friends got together and they acted like they played like they were sex offenders, and like that was a punishment for that particular state. That you had to get on there and do it, and it was on like the news, so that everybody would know who the sex offenders were. And it just turned out to be just a bunch of bullshit. They weren't really sex offenders. They were him and his family and friends. So I was like, damn.
Like that old ring takes me back. I mean, I started watching about 87, 88. You actually got matches even then.
Some of the worst matches that they did as far as the WWF was during the Hulkamania era. That's when you get your shortest matches, and you know what I mean. Because Hogan's average match was like 12 minutes long. His average championship match was, because it was just all about the hoopla and not it. That's why at that same time over on WTBS with the NWA before it became WCW. That's why Jim Ross would say, "We wrestle." You know what I mean? That was their catchphrase before they said, "Where the big boys play." It was "We wrestle."
But see, that's the problem with doing short matches is the fans get too used to it. When they actually see a match that's past the time limit they're used to, they won't get into it. They'll lose their attention.
Yeah.
Hell, I mean, the Shawn Michaels Bret Hart WrestleMania 12 Iron Man match, I love. That's a good match. They managed to keep people's attention for over an hour.
There's a lot of people that don't like it, though.
You'll be lucky if you can keep someone's attention for 5 or 10, 15 minutes.
Especially nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They want their action, just like horror movies. They want their blood. They want their stabby stab now, not later. They want it right now, and they want it every 2 minutes.
They want the super kick and shit. Yeah. Remember when the moves like the super kick and the Canadian Destroyer and the power bomb could put people down for good?
When like a Mr. Wonderful Poland or jumping pile driver, if you took that or Jake the Snake DDT, it was over. Period. When that happened, it was over. Now there's 100 different false finishes. It takes even something like the Stone Cold Stunner 2 or 3 times to put you away if you're like a megastar. It's gone too far with it, It's Stone Cold said it himself. It's like where a finisher doesn't mean anything anymore.
Exactly. I mean, they did do it back in the 90s, but that, if you're telling a story of somebody not wanting to lose and determined to win, but if that story's not there, it's just a regular match and somebody's taking a whole bunch of stunners and super kicks, Canadian Destroyers keeps getting up, no.
What got that started was I think the first time that really started going on like that was Austin and The Rock's first WrestleMania match, WrestleMania 15 or whatever it was.
Yeah, they were so good together.
They had to give each other each other's finishers twice, and finally after 2 stunners, he finally got the Rock. After that, though, people started, trying to one up each other on this finisher, and then next thing you know, now it takes several.
Especially when you have a move that's going to be should be devastating, like the Canadian Destroyer.
Right.
Or if you have somebody like Kevin Nash or Psycho Sid or some big guy hit you with a power bomb, and then someone gets up.
Well, hell, something like the super kick, that's just a regular move now. Just like a DDT, that's a regular move. Everybody does it.
Oh yeah. Some of them do with the super kick too much.
Right. Are you still watching the Morocco Pedro Morales match?
Yeah, which one are you on?
That same one I'm on. The bell's ringing right now. I think it's come to an end here. I think it's gonna be a double disqualification or something.
Yeah, I think I'm getting there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that because they.
Oh yeah, he just kicked he just kicked the referee. Well, Morocco just kicked the referee.
Yeah.
Remember when the referees started becoming characters?
Yeah.
You had Earl, Nick, and Charles, Tim White, Mike Chioda.
Yeah, they would. I like how Flair would like shove the referee and the referee would shove him back, and he'd take a bump. He'd shove Flair down, and Flair would be like,
"Oh, I love some of Flair's bumps."
Yeah, he always landed on that right hip.
And the other one was he could never, if he went to the top rope, he'd always get caught. And it would happen so many times that there'd be a rare occasion he'd actually hit the move. And you'd be like, What? He hit it? Holy shit.
Favorite bloodiest match? Oh, man. I don't know, man.
I like some of the ones they had in CZW. When the old CZW when Zanzing was in charge.
I'm trying to think, but there was one I remember. I can't remember exactly what it was, but there was one I remember, and it was to the point to where I remember seeing that one on the dark side of the ring. You remember that one that had what's his name in it? The Backyard King or the Deathmatch King. Remember the barbed wire caught his arm and ripped it open.
Oh, Nick Gage. Gage.
Nick Gage.
Yeah, he had some particularly bloody ones.
Here's the superstar Bob Backlund, and it's when Superstar was doing the karate gimmick. His body looked bad at this point, man.
Yeah, he was in such awesome shape, and then
this is just a couple years later, 2 or 3 years later, and he looked bad here.
I think as he wanted to come in and do something different. He didn't want to be what he was before, so he shaved his head, had that mustache, and his whole deal, because he was ripped at one time.
I know. That's what. Yeah, I'm wanting to definitely find one of those and watch it while we're on here. At least one of them. Check out one of those.
CZW was, I like it pre the guy who has it now. I watched it. It's had Best of the Best 19 for them. And then they had a small crowd. I remember having a little bit bigger of a crowd when they did in the ECW arena. How does a guy go from having matches with like Bruno Sammartino and Dusty Rhodes to whatever the hell was this?
Bob Backlund was so ridiculous, man. He was so overrated, man. He was so boring, man.
But he was like, I was pre-Hogan.
Yeah, I know.
And then when he came back, that was 92, 93.
Yeah, yeah.
late
He played like
92, early 93. They had changed. The company had changed so much. It was so different. It wasn't wrestling; it was sports entertainment, and he just didn't fit in. Oh, there we go. I heard a story about Mr. Fuji. Don't fuck with Mr. Fuji. There's a story that was somebody owed him some money, so he invites the guy over for dinner and some others. He's
Yep.
making. He served the guy's dog to him. It's like, what is this? Was it Bow Wow? Whatever. It's like, walks around and pulls the guy's dog's severed head out of the can. I'm like, oh, I would
Yeah.
not get on Fuji's bad side.
I think Morocco told that story.
Yeah, I would not get on Fuji's bad side after hearing that story. I'd be like kissing ass like there's no tomorrow. Because that's vicious.
Yeah.
So who do we got in the background? I see Fuji, Buddy Rose, SD Jones.
You got goddamn what was his name? I can't remember that one dude's name.
I
man.
see one of the Wild Samoans. I think I just saw. I'm not sure. That wasn't one of the
Tiger Chung Lee.
Yeah, the guy in the green shirt. I thought he was one of the Samoans, but he's not.
Tiger Chung Lee. That's who that was.
Let's see.
And they just pick him up and throw him back in.
There's Rocky Johnson. Who's the mask guy? See, because Hogan, was he still in AEW at this point? I mean, AWA?
Yeah. This is '82, so this is the year that he made Rocky 3. So this is yeah. This was the year Rocky 3 came out.
Yeah, so yeah, when he had that falling out with Vince Sr. because Vince Sr. didn't want him to do it.
Yeah.
I've seen this image of Billy during this time, and it's always confused me. It's like, that Billy? I think he went on at one point. He used this look. I want to say working with Kevin Sullivan, and I've seen Kevin Sullivan during his time with WCW brutalize local talent.
Yeah.
I've been like, is that a match or is that a mugging or attempted murder?
Oh shit! I just think about throwing back in. Throw him nicely. He's putting him back in. The heels up. Nicely putting.
He's trying to roll out right now, and SD Jones and Rocky are like, hell no. When's the last time they did a lumberjack match?
A shot. I don't know. It seems like they did one not too long ago.
You know, I'm not much of a Hogan fan, but he did a lot for wrestling just because he became Vince's project. He's who Vince got behind.
Yeah. Yeah, I was let me see. When I was about 12 or so, I was a big Hulkamania guy until Macho Man, you know, and then I got into Macho Man, and then I got into Bret Hart. And then,
I got into a lot of the hills, so I liked Savage and Bret, Mr. Perfect, Undertaker. Made the mistake of going for Warrior. I've since learned from that lesson. But then again, he was for the kids.
Yeah, he was.
So I was a kid when, I was a little kid when he was doing all that stuff. So, and then WrestleMania 12, whatever the hell that was. This referee is bigger than the wrestlers. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, that's yeah. He's a big. Hulky looking fucker, man.
He's got to be like a wrestler or something, a special guest referee or something.
Yeah. Because usually the whole point of the referees being tiny little guys is to make the wrestlers look bigger. That's the whole point.
But yeah, and he's bigger than both of them. He's a big boy.
Right. And that's crazy being bigger than Billy, because Billy wasn't too old yet. But the way his body through the midsection and chest looked, you'd think he was.
Because he looks so terrible.
Yeah, just 2 or 3 years prior to this is when he was looking so damn good.
He had the hair, the build, the colorful tights.
He obviously wasn't doing the steroids at this point. He had cut off on, and was doing the karate gimmick, even though he didn't know a bit of karate. He just wanted to separate himself completely from that, because he was so disappointed that they took the belt from him and his reign and gave it to Backlund, that, rightfully so. I mean, that was ridiculous.
And then Backlund lost it to Sheik. Sheiky, yeah. Baby.
Sheik held it for a whole month. He was transitional champion, so Hogan could get it, because Backlund refused to put Hogan over.
Even the referee, I noticed like the referee gets stuck between them. A smaller referee would fall down. This guy barely sells it.
Yeah.
Of course, it's because he's bigger than both of them.
Ugh.
This is when Buddy Rose was, kind of skinny. Not like he became later on.
Yeah, I remember him tag teaming with Doug Summers in the AWA and feuding with the Rockers. Back when Shawn was a little pudgy and he had the short hair. When he first came in.
Tony Gurria. Oh, man, I forgot that Tony Gurria was a wrestler. I'm too used to him as being one of the agents or whatever he was in his suit and tie. And I forget he was a wrestler.
Tony Gurria, yeah. He actually had a push and was actually like one half of tag team champions and shit at one time. Gurria was.
Good old Rocky Johnson.
Rocky Johnson and Tony Atlas never liked each other, but they were champions for a minute. Yeah, did you hear about Moondog Spot died a few months back?
Oh, he did?
Yep.
Now, one of the Moondogs was actually an original member of Demolition. Was that Spot or was that one of the other ones?
Really? I know Bill Eadie was one of the originals. He was I never knew of either one of them being a Moondog.
Like one of the guys from Demolition was, but he never made it to TV. I think what it was.
Oh, all right.
Because, the original Smash before Barry Darsow was Smash, it was Rex. It was Moondog Rex. I had to look that up. But I don't know if
because I knew they switched Smash probably several months into it. They switched Smashes. I didn't know that was Rex.
Yeah.
Wow. He sure looked a hell of a lot different than when he had that long hair and beard.
I've never seen images of him, but I guess that's when they debuted. He was there. And then Darsow.
Yeah, because Darsow came over from the NWA. He was one of the Russians. He was a Crusher.
Oh, there's Russell with a name from the past. The Sheep Herders.
Sheep Herders, which is also the
back when they were all bloody and violent and stuff. And you could see it. They had the scars to show.
I wrestled them when I was about a year into the business. Me and my tag team partner Gutter wrestled them in 2001.
Oh, really? Because
We wrestled the Bushwhackers.
you get the lick from them.
No, but the shorter one. Let me see. There was Luke and there was Butch. The one with the darker hair, the shorter one, not the blonder hair one, but the darker haired one, touched my balls. Yeah, I was out there and I went to meet him and I went to give him the wrestling handshake, which is 2 fingers and a thumb basically. You're supposed to just kind of touch the hands. Well, he slipped it and he tapped my balls and he went, oh, and I was like, what the fuck? They went walking
Down.
off.
He stands like he's standing there like it's nothing.
So yeah. Worked a match. Yeah, that's what my partner was gutter and I was ruined. We were the gutter punks, and we took them on the Bushwhackers.
The Bushwhackers were a childhood favorite because they was they were interesting.
Weird being in the ring with people like that, like the 4-way match that I had with Jake the Snake Roberts, which I'm sure you've heard me talk about before.
Oh, you were in there with Jake?
You never heard me talk about that before?
Oh, no, but I am interested in it.
April 2001, man. I was a champion of a federation called the EWF, the Extreme Wrestling Federation in Marion, Indiana.
I've heard of them.
I wrestled with them. They used to have a website and everything. It's been defunct now for years. It's been out of business. But yeah, it was me, a dude. His character was named Bob. Another dude who was called the Big Cheese, and Jake the Snake.
Wow, Jake.
I'm
okay, this guy's called Big Swede or something like that, and now he's fighting with Superstar.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mentioned that a bunch of the times. You know?
Damn. Jake was. I like some of his promos because he didn't yell. Everyone else would yell, and he's just like, he's just calmly talking.
He was right at the 2001, so he was right at the peak of his being fucked up. This is not long after the Beyond the Mat came out. He insisted on the promoter. He wanted like a fucking I can't remember how much crack and a fifth of 100 proof peppermint schnapps before the match.
Jake.
He
got a women's match. Fabulous Moolah. Can't make out the others. But Jake was just.
So I was a bit concerned going into wrestling, but Jake didn't wrestle. Jake did not perform like he was fucked up.
I watched that documentary on his dad, and they were talking to him about being Adrian Smith, and he goes, I'm not Adrian Smith. His dad did a number on those kids.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Whether it was Rockin' Robin or Sam, he did a number on them. Okay, Princess Victoria is the name that rings a bell. I've heard that before.
Right.
Jake was. What the hell? Randy Richter did a cowgirl gimmick?
Yeah, oh, that's what she was because to begin with, before she was a wrestler, she was a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader.
It's weird. After hearing everything about Fabulous Moolah, I look at her differently.
Right.
I mean, I'd heard it before.
She's basically a pimp.
I'd heard hints of it before. And then when people got more into it, it was like, oh my God.
They even took away that Moolah Invitational Award thing or whatever it was.
That's when, because I'd heard it before, but when that happened, that's when more came out. Because that was going to be the Fabulous Moolah Memorial Rumble or whatever. And then they were like, nope.
He didn't have a snake that night, Russell. Jake hadn't had a snake in many years. The promoter of the Federation had put an ad out in the paper for an albino python. that he could rent, that Jake could bring to the ring that night, right? That we had that 4-way with Jake. So he brought to the ring somebody else's albino python that time. He did not own any snakes at all at that point. Just in case you want. Because before he went to the WWF, he didn't have the snake gimmick. He was just Jake Roberts. It was Vince that gave him the Jake the Snake gimmick.
I like that one story about how they were at an airport and the snake got out of the bag or whatever.
He did
It was
not
on
like
the
snakes.
tarmac. It was on the tarmac, and there was like causing trouble, and they had to come and get him.
That was a beautiful albino python.
That wasn't Damien, because Damien was the other one.
Yeah.
Because the albino one had a different name compared to the other ones.
Yeah, and they had the cobra that they called Lucifer.
The story about how with Savage made him let the snake bite him first just to make sure it wasn't poisoned.
Yeah, and then he pissed off so bad it wouldn't let go of Savage.
Yeah, he's smacking the thing. So Jake is just
He said, "Yeah, I got it devenomed," and he's like, "Maybe it is, and maybe it isn't."
Like, let it bite you, and then he's like watching him. Okay. Yeah. I can understand being the paranoia thing, but Jake had to be like, what the hell? I like the story that Shane Duggan tells about Savage. He's like, I guess he did a show when he's doing the shows in the 80s for WWF as a enhancement talent. He goes, Savage is being Savage. He goes backstage and he sees Savage on the door because he wouldn't let Elizabeth out. He's all, hey, Liz, it's me. It's ready. Let me in. Banging on the door and stuff. It's like, dude, Savage was pathetic. Because Savage, he had his issues. He was just...
He was paranoid. The problem with Savage Elizabeth was I think he always felt like she could do better, like she was much prettier than him, and he knew it. So, and I think that brought forth his insecurities a lot. You know what I mean? And I think that's what that was. I guess
he got mad at one of the Nasty Boys because they accidentally farted. She was behind them, and they farted. One of them farted, and he got pissed.
All right, Ninja. Take it easy, man. Thanks for stopping.
Okay, I'm going to be right back because I got to take care of my dogs real quick. But I'll be right back.
All right. Oh, we got Jimmy Snuka versus... Ray the Crippler Stevens. Okay. Versus Snuka. Hey, still around, man. So do you like Pearl? I haven't seen Pearl yet, but I hear that it's better than X. That's what I keep hearing. Like I said, I'm gonna go exchange that damaged one, and then I'm gonna check it out. So sometime in the next couple days, probably tomorrow. Yeah, I'll be back to horror next week. I just like to do a wrestling video every now and then. I haven't done one in a year, so I just Echo's a big wrestling fan too, so we just wanted to throw together a stream like this. Cool. Yeah, I mean, I don't get me wrong. I liked X, but I didn't like it as much as some people do. You know, so I'm looking forward to Pearl. I'll be on Night Watch Zone's celebration tomorrow night. He's invited me to be on the panel. He invited me like a week or so ago to be on the panel for his 2-year anniversary celebration. So I'm looking forward to doing that, playing some games and trivia and all that shit over there. That should be a lot of fun. And then either Saturday or Sunday, whenever JT's doing his 500 sub celebration. I'll be doing that. And Sunday I'll be with American World from New Jersey doing pain dressing. And then Monday I'll be back on my channel doing opera. And then Tuesday I will be once again with Sean doing Dolls from 1987. So that's what's on my list coming up for the next what is it, 5-6 days. So that's what's up. This is basically just a horror break in between here. Wow. Nature Boy Buddy Rogers pops into that's a name from the past. Nature Boy Buddy Rogers. Wow. Sticks himself in here. I ain't seen him in a long time. Well, he's been dead 30 years or more. Most of these people are gone now. Snook is gone. Albano's gone. I think Kirk Stevens is gone. Albano or Ray Blassey's gone. Buddy Rogers is gone. Every single one of these people involved here have died since then. Man, this is what happened when you watch 1982 wrestling. Considering it was 41 years ago. Yeah. Oh, definitely. Me too. Me too, Russell. But I like to check out the 80s and the some of the new generation and the Attitude Era wrestling. Like to check that stuff out. That's mainly why I have Peacock, is so I can watch that. Watch some of the old school stuff, some nostalgic stuff, and what I grew up on.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I got to take care of my dogs one last time every night. I was going to say, we have some injuries. Besides the ones I told you about, Dakota Kai and Liv. Sasha Banks.
Oh,
apparently, yeah, she
Mercedes
busted her ankle. Yeah, busted her ankle. She wasn't supposed to lose that match. She was supposed to win that match and that title.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems they had to call it audible. Which, I'm surprised she didn't get hurt, She should have been hurt a lot more in wrestling. Some of the bumps and falls she took.
Yeah. When you're young, you can take that shit, man. You can take a lot more. Like there's no way I would try. At even the age I am now, let alone being 70, something like Hogan or Flair. There's no way at 50 I would get back into a fucking wrestling ring. But back in the day when I was in my late 20s, early 30s, I got 500 matches under my belt. But I wouldn't even try to even do one more now.
What's the worst injury you had when you were wrestling?
I broke my shoulder and my collarbone. I tweaked some shit in my knee real bad. I broke the inside bone of my foot because I was putting the ring together, and underneath the ring you got a chain coming this way from this post to this post, and then from this post to this post I got another one, and it takes a come along. You know what a come along is, right? I had a hook to part of the chain. Well, it's basically a thing with you got two hooks here and hooks here, and you pull it tight, and it tightens.
Okay, I think.
Well, I was loosening it because we were getting ready to take it down, so I had to pull the come along, and it was really tight, so I had to put my foot there. And when it flipped, the ball of that handle flipped and hit me right in the center of the foot and broke that bone.
Ooh.
But the worst I had was when I shattered my shoulder, this shoulder, and the collarbone here.
Damn.
And my shoulder turned black, and then purple, and then red, and then yellow. And it took me 3 months to come back from that.
Yeah, Russell, I agree. It is a soap opera. Watch NXT. The one thing that could have rivaled AEW was a lot of stuff they were doing in NXT. Now it's soap opera. You have the storyline where this wrestler is in love with some woman, wants to fight with his best friend, and she doesn't love him. They're doing segments at the bar talking about love. I'm like, where's the freaking wrestling?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, when it's if you got a good balance of it, it can be really good. But when you got the story outweighing, I mean, when in an hour program, you got 40 minutes worth of story, 45 minutes worth of story. You know,
Yeah. But they're all promotions. I haven't watched Ring of Honor really since Tony Khan took over.
yeah, I heard he got it going again.
So who do we have here in this? Probably the final match for this
Uh,
old school.
the one I'm the one I have it on here is Jimmy Snuka and Ray the Crippler Stevens.
Ooh. TNA.
But the final
Good
one I
old
have,
Impact. Good TNA. It surprised me. They've had so many issues. You go back to the very first show they did, back when the NWTNA, the ring broke.
yeah,
So then they had to fix it before they went on the air. Did you see when they had the fire?
uh,
They were doing a pay-per-view and a fire broke out in the rafters.
yeah,
So of course they got to evacuate everybody, and then they got to wait for the fire marshal to come in and inspect everything and decide whether or not um, it's safe to go back in. People, I guess they said that the pay you make more money on the independents than them at one point. People not being paid. But Ray Stevens bombs away for Ray the Crippler Stevens. Who was he? Okay, Stevens had a famous tag team partner. Who was it he used to team up with?
shit. I don't remember, man.
Because I remember someone talking about that.
Yeah, yeah, but I do not remember who it was. I don't remember.
Let's see. There was somebody he used to team up with a lot.
Oh, yeah, definitely recipe Sullivan Hart. Yeah, that was horrible. Did not need to happen.
Pat Patterson,
Patterson and Stevens. Okay.
the Blonde Bombers.
Yeah, that was back about the same time as you had um, Dirty Dick Murdoch and Dusty Rhodes.
Look who's in Stevens' corner though.
Yeah.
Freddie Blassie and Albano. What a pairing to have in your corner.
Well, Buddy Rogers came out for Snuka. Buddy Rogers was just out there a minute ago for him.
I don't know. I don't know if you remember saw the Road Warriors DVD the WWE put out.
Yeah, I seen him.
They talk
I
about them
have it.
facing Dick the Bruiser and
Yeah.
they pick them up above
Yeah,
their heads.
the
They're
Bruiser
like,
and the Crusher.
put us
Yeah.
down! Put us down!
Yeah. That was the Bruiser and the Crusher. Yeah, and they were used to yeah.
And they
Kind
weren't
of.
used to people picking up above their heads like, put us down!
Yeah, they were not. Yeah.
I always like Barry Darso's story when they saw they were going to face them. Because Cornette talked about it too. It was like, oh, great, we're going to have some good contests. Who are we facing? The Road Warriors? Oh, shit.
Yeah.
And Darso's like, he was teaming up with Arn, I think he says, and he's like, sees it and goes, good knowing you, Arn.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, damn.
Yeah. That's
Blassie,
what I was saying.
pencil neck, yeah, Blassie, pencil neck geek.
And at that time, one of the few people that could actually handle Hulker Animal when they were that age was Nikita Koloff. The motherfucker was
Oh,
every bit as big or bigger.
you had to be this with those two. Those are two big boys.
Yeah,
It's a lot of beef right there.
Koloff in his prime was a monster, man.
Oh yeah.
I wish he would have got a bigger push, man. And his promo was great. He was so into that character that he walked around talking like that all the time.
He went on to become a priest, I think. Is it a minister or something?
Yeah, he's a minister. Yeah. He had a reality show about 10, 12 years ago with his daughter and shit. They actually had a reality show. He's not one of them big Minnesota boys that ended up taking up permanent residence in Georgia.
I noticed that they censored WWF's when they say it. When they introduced Buddy Rogers, like the only guy to hold the WW and NWA.
Yeah.
So, you know they did that to Bad Bunny. They censored his coat because he had the old logo on it.
I forgot.
Snuka was another guy. I always liked his build.
Oh yeah, he was definitely in shape. Steamboat.
Paul Ondorf, Steamboat, Rick Rude, another one.
Yeah. There wasn't many that had that kind of build at that time, so the ones that did really stuck out. Orndorff was fine until he suffered that injury to his right arm. He fucked up his bicep real bad, and that bicep never looked the same again.
Yeah, that whole arm just went away. And then he got that song. Remember his WCW theme song?
Yeah.
Luna, I kind of liked Luna. She had a look to her voice.
Oh yeah.
But I guess she could be a handful. Talked to Gangrel like what, she attacked him or something, was like trying to bite him.
Yeah.
And they got together and got married afterwards.
Yeah.
This is when they met. What a way to meet your future wife. She's trying to bite you and beat you up.
Mine is over my old school.
Yeah. I mean, looking at this, watching this, the way wrestling used to be, no quick, short matches. You actually had matches.
Yeah.
And now it's a lot of this. And we got the
high spot.
SmackDown tomorrow, and
Collision starting soon.
Yeah, because we got the W doing a double header this weekend. Which, looking at the card for NXT,
Isn't Night of Champions coming Saturday? This Saturday?
They're doing that's a show in the Middle East, and then for WWE, and then the next day they're doing NXT. Which now they have some mysterious woman that attacked some Perez or whatever. It was like, oh, it's Mandy Rose. Probably won't be. Yeah, Lou did have an acting career.
Briefly, yeah. He did Mario, and I remember the first year he did like that was the Cyndi Lauper videos.
Girls just want to have fun, and
that's what kicked off the rock and wrestling. That's what kicked off the rock and wrestling connection in the mid '80s.
But yeah, and The music too, the entrance music was a big part of it.
Yeah.
They got rid of Jim. What was his name? Jim. The guy that did Undertaker Warrior got rid of him. They had this CFO, and who did like glorious Bobby Roode stuff, Sasuke Nakamura stuff, and now they got. I don't know who they got now.
Yeah, that one guy that did entrance music, he did it for a long time.
Jim Johnson, I think it was Jim Johnson.
Yeah, he did it through the most like the second half of the '80s and most of the like all the '90s.
Oh yeah, it was a big part of it, but you know, did you ever watch the American Wrestling Federation? This would have been in the late '90s.
No.
You know about in Europe, I think they call it the round system.
Mm-mm.
Where they would do this in England. It's like boxing. You have rounds.
Okay.
And so you get the action to go so far, and then ring, they go to the corners. Well, AWF was one they tried to do that with, and they had a lot of old names: Coco Beware, Nels, Tito Santana, LOD, Bob Orton Jr. But the problem was the matches would start up slow. You'd start to get into them. Oh, this is good, and then ding ding, go to your corner.
Yeah.
And then when they would start again, all that momentum is lost. And not only that, your interest would go.
Right. Yeah.
And
the
biggest moment I remember from it was because they had Tony Atlas, and they were feeding with Nels. He's like, "Do you like water? You like hot water? I really like hot water. I like it when it's steaming." And he comes out and throws what's supposed to be hot water at Tony Atlas, who just screams in pain.
Yeah.
That's the one moment I really remember more than ding ding. I mean, not saying you can't do that in America. I mean, they have, but it just really was like, again, you're like, oh, this match is going good, and then ding ding. It would lose your attention. But now, I mean, shit. Okay, what is the card for Night of Champions?
You got Gunter versus Mustafa Ali or whatever. Which Gunter, I think it's only a matter of time before if he keeps going. I mean, they got him built up so good, and he's done such a good job. I think he has a world title in the future sometime.
Yeah, but he's not going to lose it to Mustafa Ali.
Well, I would hope not. And you got the tag team championship. You got Owens and Zayn versus, of course, the main event, Reigns and Sikoa. Trying to think here.
You got Bianca Belair versus Asuka.
Right.
Ripley versus Natalia, which has been no build up to. Becky versus Trish. Seth versus. They go. I didn't even know that they were facing until someone put something on Twitter like, "Oh, go Natalia." I'm like, what?
Yeah, unless you got a championship match, she's usually putting somebody over.
I don't know. Who do you want to see as the new the inaugural world champion, Seth or AJ? I'm going for Seth.
I would prefer Seth Rollins,
especially because he has his. Because you could have either him work with either Brock or Cody, because there's a story there, especially with Cody.
Cody needs to win it, man.
But now they got this whole injury storyline. Yeah. But I don't know. Plus, they're going to keep it on Raw, so which means Seth is going to keep the title on Raw.
He would. Cody would lose a lot of momentum.
Then a lot of people were not happy about that loss at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they set it up just right, but they're just like I was telling my fiance. She wasn't very happy about it either. It's like I told her. I said they're not going to take it for. I knew Cody was not going to win the match at WrestleMania because he was too close to 1,000 days as champion. There was no way they're going to get him that close to that 1,000 days and then take it. No way.
How many days has he had?
I think he's come by champions. It seems like he'll be within a week of 1,000.
Yeah, he's been it since 2000, has it?
Huh?
Yeah, since August of 2000.
Yeah, so he's within a week or so of 1,000 days.
They're gonna probably go to SummerSlam. I can see them do it with him, going to SummerSlam, and then have them drop the title there.
I've heard him mention next WrestleMania, dropping it to Cody at next WrestleMania. So I mean, I don't know. I kind of suspect that they're looking for him to break Hogan's reign.
He's the new one. Pet project. Let's see. Universal reigns. Let's see. Go down to title reigns. Let's see. 989 plus days.
Yep.
Damn.
So then, yep. Ernie the Cat Lad. Wow. I heard him in a while.
Oh yeah, that's
Still going, Cal. I'll getting ready to wrap it up here pretty soon. Though I'm tired, probably gonna crash out soon. But yep, we're still going so forth. I think they made the right choice. It was too easy and predictable. Cody would get it. Yeah, I knew Cody wasn't gonna get it because he was too close to 1,000. They weren't gonna cut it off that quick.
How many days? That's the Universal, but how many days has he been the WWE?
Anyway, about close to a year. Well, didn't he win the WWE at last year's SummerSlam?
I think so. Yeah, the winner takes all match against Brock.
Yeah. So yeah.
Let's see, he has been a long history. Now they got this new belt, which I've known about this new belt for a while. Anybody who's paid attention to the talk. Like I said, anybody who's been paying attention to all the talk has known that this belt was coming. 417 days. Yeah, he beat a format at WrestleMania. But they've been talking about this title long.
Traditional. I'm glad it looks traditional again. You know what I mean? I'm glad they didn't come up with another one with a big W on it again. I like the way those belts look.
Yeah, I heard the story about Kowalski got the name Killer, like he was like meet somebody and the ear went off, so they called him Killer. Mm-hmm. So that's all it takes to get the name Killer is to knee somebody's ear off.
That's it.
Does anybody have an ear they want to lose so I can knee it off?
Well, shit.
I gotta do.
Tyson should be called Killer then. You know?
Oh Lordy!
Twice. He not only bit a piece of his ear off in the first fight of the Holyfield, but he bit his ear off again in the second, or he bit it again in the second fight.
You know, I've heard that the old belts were like 10 to 15 pounds, but the WCW belt I heard was 50 somewhere. Yeah. It looks like it could be 50 pounds. God, it had to be heavy, you know, carrying that around your waist, a 50-pound belt.
Yeah.
Do you have any of your old belts, your championships that you ever had? Did they ever let you keep them?
No, not in the independents, no. You never got to keep them because they couldn't afford to replace them like that all the time. You know what I mean? They couldn't even hardly afford to pay us any real money, let alone let us keep their belts.
Compared to now, I've always heard, you know, it wasn't paid, but I wonder if some of these promotions are paid better. Well, post-pandemic, they're probably not paying good anymore. Because a lot of promotions went down. A lot of promotions got hurt. I mean, I remember CZW was pulling in some decent crowds. When I watched the clips for that Best of the Best, oof.
Yeah, I started wrestling back in the late 90s, right around the Attitude Era. and I retired in 2010. I wrestled 12 years and just over 500 matches. Yes.
Yeah. What's the biggest name you wrestled?
Jake the Snake Roberts
Okay.
in April of 2001. Yep. Yes. Yeah. My wrestling persona was ruined.
ROH. I actually got a story about them. I was part of the auto club at one point, and I canceled it, and they kept charging me.
Man.
And when I tried calling him, they said I was full of shit. I was like, no, dude, you're still charging me, and I canceled. So, but Japan's death matches was something else. I mean,
Yeah.
nothing. I mean, CCW. I mean, we had Big Japan.
Explosions and shit. You'd fall outside the ring, hit that shit, it'd explode on you.
I remember watching my first Japanese death match. I watched it was FMW Yokohama death match. You had a no rope barbed wire match between the ladies. And they were the whole story was they were former lovers and one was retiring, and they beat the shit out of each other. And at the end, they're all in the back crying and crawling to each other. Main event: no rope, electrified barbed wire, time bomb, double hell death match.
Sometimes I do
Ropes,
feel like.
yeah, ropes on two sides of the ring, and a drop with boards with explosives and barbed wire. Terry Funk and Mr. Pogo versus Musato Tanaka and Hayabusa. And the time, it counted down. When it got down to 0, you get the air siren, and everyone's running. I see Mr. Pogo's running around, and then he just drops and explosions. But if you want death matches, if they're still around, Big Japan.
Yeah. I never fucked with that shit. The most I ever got into, I had a couple of hardcore matches. I had a few ladder matches. I had a couple cage matches, but that's as far as any kind of fucking
Which
death
cage
match
did
or
they
anything
use? Did they use
I was doing.
what kind of cage did they use when you had them? Was it
It
the
it
cyclone fencing?
it looked like a chain link fence. Yeah, it just looked like a fence. The
Because
old school.
everybody did that, but the WWE they had Big Blue.
And then the big black in the Attitude Era, they painted it black. Remember the Vince at the I guess State Valentine's Day Massacre? It was Stone Cold and
Yeah,
Vince. Remember they're hanging outside, and he slammed Vince's head into it, and Vince went flying off and broke his tailbone on the table because he
I
hit right
think
on the corner of it.
I think the cyclone fence one is a lot more terrifying than that the big one WWE used to use because yeah, you hit the bars
You could
and you
climb
know
it
the
easily
hard.
though.
Yeah, but also with the cyclone fencing, God, it's like cheese grating.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Anybody who's fallen against one of those fences and slid down them can tell you it don't feel good.
yeah.
They have some CZW and stuff on Tubi. They have the Urban Wrestling Federation was that promotion that was rappers and wrestlers. You had your different cliques.
That's the one that the ICP got together or something, wasn't it?
No, there was think I don't think they had any big names that I recall. I think they had somebody from the Sugar Hill Gang or something.
Okay.
But I remember, yeah, Mick and Terry Funk, 1995, IWA Japan, King of the Death Match. That
Terry Funk was always so giving, man. Terry Funk was one of the people that was responsible for giving the ECW its initial big kickoff. Remember, their very first pay per view was sold on Terry Funk being in the main event. You know, and that was back in that's back when they were really able to get going good. It was thanks to him and people like him and Mick Foley. Well, Cactus Jack at the time. This is what he was being called, but mainly Terry Funk. He was
that pay per view almost didn't happen
yeah.
because of that kid who has since died.
Oh,
I like.
the mass transit. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I like New Jack's variation of the story because when they had the hearing, Paulie goes, he's like, he said the word N-word, and they made Paulie say it. He goes, I'm sorry, Jack. And he goes, Jack's like, there was one black guy on the jury. He was asleep until he heard that. And the black guy was just like, excuse me?
Yeah. Yeah.
But at footage,
He's a fucking psychopath, man.
You see the footage of that guy he stabbed during the match?
Oh, the old guy?
No, there was another guy who they had a match, and the guy gets picking and poking at Jack's head, and Jack goes, he had like some Wolverine claws, and one of the blades had broken off, was in his pants.
Oh yeah,
he didn't like it, so he pulled it. He goes, he just started stabbing the guy. He got arrested for it.
Yeah, and then he made a deal with him. The guy wanted to make a deal that they would work some angle, and he said, "Well, you got to drop the charges to let me out first." And so he dropped the charges, let him out, and he skipped shape, took off, and like, you dumbass motherfucker, man.
There are reasons why people love Jack. He's legitimately, I think, was crazy.
He definitely was crazy. Yeah, he had its problems, yeah, that's for sure.
But I had wrestling's bloodiest matches. I got in trouble showing that clip of that guy who he let some in a wrestling match. It was an indie show. He let them set his crotch on fire. So he's trying to pull his pants down to protect it, and here comes a guy with a weed whacker. Right to the guy's crotch. Shoots across the room. And I went to test that clip to see what would happen, and I got in trouble with YouTube. Other people were doing it, so we're doing it. It's like, I'll just test it. You have a community guideline warning.
Oh, shit.
Okay, I'll be a good boy. I was so afraid afterwards, like, oh, God, what can I show and what can I talk about? I'm in trouble. Supposedly it's expired, but it still shows up. I guess after 90 days or something. It's still there.
Damn.
So I guess I still got to be a good boy.
Yeah. They can pick you about the dumbest shit, man, and then they get you on shit you don't even know what the fuck you did wrong, and then other people can do whatever they want. A lot of that shit has to do with who you are and how much revenue you bring in for them. And if you're like us, you don't bring them in any revenue, you can't do shit.
Well, you know that WWE owns pornography?
Pornography?
Yep. When they bought up, there was this company that had all this old wrestling footage, like XPW and stuff, the rights to it. Mm-hmm. WWE bought a lot of this stuff up, this library. Well, it was XPW. The owners of that company had also made pornography, some very extreme pornography that got them in trouble, got them arrested. When WWE bought that company's, had all this wrestling footage, like Backyard Wrestling and all this stuff, and XPW stuff, when they bought it up, they inadvertently bought that pornography and then made an agreement to never release it. So I don't know if they destroyed the footage or not, but they owned the rights to pornography, extreme pornography that could get someone in trouble.
Yeah.
There was a company that used to release a whole bunch of stuff back in the late 90s, early 2000s, like XPW, Backyard Wrestling, and some other stuff, independent stuff. I can't remember the name. Let's see if it's the name of the company. But it's like, damn, WWE owns porn.
I'm not surprised. Yeah.
Big Vision Entertainment. That's who they bought. Yeah, they used to release a whole bunch of stuff. Which I wonder if that means they also own Wrestling Society X. So they did the Ultimate Insider DVDs and stuff. All that stuff back in the day you used to be able to get. That was them.
Yeah. You can always tell when somebody's blading themselves. You either see them fucking with the tape. They'll be selling they'll be selling at the side. It's a lot easier with someone with long hair, and it's always when they're either selling or the referee takes the dude to the side. When he's getting. Yeah. Now some will do it after they get hit, and some will blade before they take the hit. Like when they're getting ready to whip, like in a cage match, when they're getting ready to whip them off, whip them into the cage. When they're on their way there, you'll see them make a cut, and then they'll hit it. and then after they hit the cage or whatever, you'll see them tucking their tights or
I
put it
think
back in the
Abdullah
tape.
said that he put tape into his fingers or whatever, a little blade to his fingers, so he can just.
Yeah,
I remember Cena got one time he had one. I think it was on in his wrist thing,
yeah.
and he fell, and the blade fell out.
Some
It's
just put it in their
laying right.
mouth.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but it's laying on the ring, and the ref had to walk over and pick it up and put it in his pants. But some people, they don't blade; they do it the hard way. We make you cut. We're gonna, take these scissors and. But like with what's his name, Mass Transit, he has them to blade them, and he has the wrong person.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was it?
He used like a scalpel or like an X-Acto knife, didn't he?
Yeah. And Blue Meanie said that it's a bad idea. Plus, they're not going to know your pain threshold,
right?
So they can end up doing some damage to you.
You'll ever do that.
Because the Meanie, I think it was in that New Jack documentary of Vice. I think could be wrong, where he talked about how just don't do that. They're not going to know your pain threshold. Yeah, I always remember that footage of the first ECW One Night Stand. That whole thing was JBL and Blue Meanie.
Right.
God, Meanie got in trouble for that at first until they got because he said he got backstage and they were mad at him until it got explained.
Yeah.
He had been what was it? He had been busted open at the Hardcore reunion, was it? The night before. They had closed it, but then JBL busted him back open.
Yeah, JBL was a bit of a bully. That's why the story is, of course, it's told a couple different ways, but the story is that Joey Styles punched him and knocked him out or some shit.
He hit him, and he wouldn't mess with Joey anymore.
I hope to God that's the way it happened.
And the thing is, Joey's not a big guy, especially compared to JBL. Joey's not a big guy.
Right.
So there's the embarrassing factor if you got a guy who's considerably smaller than you is gonna, just
didn't give a fuck. He's like, you're not gonna fuck with me and pick on me and bully me, motherfucker. I don't care if you kick my ass or not. I'm gonna fucking fuck you.
Take in mind, Joey was. But Joey was there in ECW. He was a lot of dangerous people there. A lot more dangerous JBL. So.
Oh yeah. Oh hell yeah.
Some of the people probably fucked with him there. And he was probably like, dude, whatever.
Right.
Probably had to learn and stuff.
Shit, man. I definitely appreciate you joining me for this wrestling stream, man. I hadn't done one in a while, and I knew you was a fan.
Yeah, it's always a blast, man.
Cool. We'll get back together sometime here in the future and do another one if you want, man.
Oh, definitely.
Cool. Thanks everybody for coming by and everybody that came by and stuck by and came back and all that. Much appreciated. We're a couple old wrestling fans that enjoy it, and we just want to talk about it live in front of a crowd this time. So I will. Do you got anything coming up that you want to talk about or anything? Anything you want to plug?
Well, I maybe got the stream on Saturday, because of doing the Night of Champions, but it's 11 or 12. 11 a.m. 12 p.m. But I might be in a cemetery doing stuff with the vets, so I don't know if I'm gonna make it or not. But if I am, I'll be on Jim's channel. Now it's dark, but it all depends.
Good. Tomorrow night I will be over on with Night Watch Zone. I'll be on his panel for his 2-year anniversary stream. Either Saturday or Sunday, I will be with JT's Horror Discussions doing his 500 sub celebration. Sunday night, I will be doing the episode with 3 and 4 of Penny Dreadful, the American Werewolf from New Jersey. Monday night, I'll be back on my channel doing Dario Argento's Opera at 11 p.m.
Oh, I'm gonna definitely be there. Yeah.
With Sean at 10 p.m. here, also on my channel, doing 1987's Dolls, and that's like I said, that's what's on my shit for the next 5 or 6 days. So.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be there for that one with Argento because I need to take more of a dive because that that Ten Bear, whatever. Oof. I need to watch more of the films he actually directed.
Definitely, yes. Opera's a good one too, man. You'll enjoy Opera. So
cool. I'm definitely gonna check that out.
11
By the way,
o'clock.
thanks for opening my eyes to his stuff as a director. Thank you.
Cool, man. Awesome. Oh, I always love to open that stuff up. Like I opened up Trench's eyes to The Exorcist 3 Legion. He didn't give it a chance because he'd heard Exorcist 2 sucked, which it does. But he didn't realize Exorcist 3 was good until he watched it with me when I was doing watching it. And ended up loving it. Said he even liked it better than the original. So I was like, whoa, okay. So, but yep, that's what's going on. Thanks to Echo Cero again. Thanks to everybody for joining us. We'll be catching you guys later. And don't forget that I am GoreAphobe and you guys are not. Have a great night.